Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, for joining us today on another edition of Crime and Sports. We are really getting deep into this Evel Knievel thing.
Right.
We're going to do part 3 today, and we are nowhere near done with Evel. So it's going to be a few more parts,
really?
I think. Yeah, I mean, we're only at 1968 at the moment. This is where we're going to start back, and he's not even really famous yet.
No.
That's what's fucking crazy. Like, he's not even super famous yet.
I mean, the jump in Vegas certainly catapulted him, but
that was made him known.
Yeah.
But that's when he started getting on TV all the time and became famous. Right. So yeah, we just have like the seed of him being famous at this point.
Gross.
And the nut, the jizz, the of him being famous. So we'll get into all that and more. First of all, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Everything there for you. There's merchandise you could buy, all sorts of stuff. Mainly, though, tickets to live small-town murder shows all throughout 2025. If you want to get those tickets, I would get them right now because a lot of shows are sold out. Even there's a show in November that's sold out already. So
crazy. Yeah.
Get your tickets right now. Chicago, St. Louis, you are up next. St. Louis is just about sold out, by the way. So get in there, and Chicago, you can still get your tickets right there. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, Patreon. Check out Patreon if you need more content because there's so much of it there for you. Anybody, $5 a month or above. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. You are going to get first of all, a huge back catalog of back bonus episodes you've never heard before. Hundreds of them. Immediately upon subscription. Then new ones every other week, one crime and sports, one small town murder, and you get it all, everybody. This week, which you're going to get, by the way, we are going to talk about for crime and sports remember the Dolphins bullying scandal they had with Richie Incognito and all that?
That guy's such a dildo. Yeah.
Yeah, he is too. Well, the guy at the source of the whole thing, the alleged victim at the time, is now talking about it a lot more and stuff. So we're going to have a little bit more insight on it as well.
Great.
So we'll talk all about that and more, and we'll do small town murder too. Patreon.com/crimeinsports, and you get a shout out at the end of the show too. So stay tuned for that. Jimmy will mess your name all up while he's trying to get it correct.
Certainly. Yeah.
That said, let's dive back into Evel here.
Here we go. Yeah.
We last left Evel broken and battered in Las Vegas from his horrifying...
But not as bad as he wanted it, as long as he sold it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Him and the Sarno guy made up a whole thing, and we're going to say you're half dead, and we're going to do all this shit. Meanwhile, he's got hookers in there and stuff. It's a whole other...
Broken and battered, but not as much... I guess I wasn't as sick as I put on.
Exactly. He Doc Holliday'd that shit. So they say, here's a newspaper article from this time, from January 5th, 1968, saying, Daredevil Evel Knievel will ride again, says doctors.
Will he?
Will he? The doctor said Thursday night Daredevil Evel Knievel would not have to undergo surgery, that he probably would be able to ride his motorcycle again. That's when they came out with the whole, because they were saying his hip needs to be fused and they won't be able to do anything and all of this type of shit. They said the treatment originally diagnosed for Mr. Knievel is going to be continued, and they said no surgery is considered needed. 15 years ago, surgery was felt necessary, but now improved techniques will allow it to be treated with traction. That's the thing about a smashed pelvis. You used to have surgery. So it says that next article says Daredevil cyclist to leave wheelchair for circus bow.
What?
Yeah, he said... he says that he's first of all, he's talking about the whole Grand Canyon jump, obviously, but he is also talking about will be the special attraction at the Dobrich International Circus, when it opens here on April 3rd. Knievel is to ride a motorcycle on a wire strung 50 feet above the arena floor.
You can't do
That sounds insane. That's not a thing you do, right? Is that a thing people do? I've never seen that before.
Is that possible? It's not a wire.
That's crazy. People walk on wires, but they stop and get their balance. They don't just
have to be a plank.
Fucking
you can't do that on a wire.
Ride a motorcycle. Yeah, that sounds crazy. Still confined to a wheelchair, doctors assure him he can recover in time to open with the circus. He'll also attempt to jump over 9 elephants for the show. Which, what if you miss and run into an elephant? That's not cool for the elephant. That's pretty fucked up.
Worse, how are you going to keep them in
stand right there?
Have them hold trunk to tail?
What fucking circus has 9 elephants also? That's a herd. That's a giant herd of elephants.
That well trained,
Yeah. 9 elephants could take over a city. Like, literally. 9 elephants
that aren't
could run Las
by
Vegas.
The sound and smell of a two-stroke.
Holy shit, yeah. That elephant doesn't like ring, ring, ring. He doesn't like that. Holy shit, man. This is kind of crazy, obviously. They talk about his experience. Our experiences are greater than his age would suggest. He boasts 30 parachute jumps, holds the world record for jumping his cycle over 16 automobiles. Again, no one else. It's not a record anymore.
Nobody else is trying. Yeah.
And bucking broncos and amateur rodeos, and owns credentials as a champion ski jumper. All of that's true.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Interesting. By the way, right under that is an ad for a movie that has looks like a picture of a chick moaning, and it says a shattering, sophisticated study of a sick society, and it says, and the name of the movie is Turn Me On, adults only.
Porn?
Oh yeah, then adults only. Then the second hit, then plus a second hit, Baby, 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 which I assume is more porn.
Who the fuck is sitting through double features of porn? You didn't finish?
I was going to say, by the second fucking actual sex scene of the first movie, you should be leaving. What are you doing? How long are you sitting?
Why are you edging yourself so hard in public?
This is going to get it now. This one's a Baby, Baby, Baby's the one. I feel it.
Drop those teaspoons and get the fuck out of
That is brutal, man. So, 1968, March 18th, 1968, he finally gets a little national exposure when actor Joey Bishop has him on as a guest on the Joey Bishop show, because he had a talk show.
Who the fuck is Joey Bishop?
He was
Why do I know
he was a
that
comic
name?
and an actor from the...
Oh, he was funny.
He hung around the Rat Pack. He was part of the Rat Pack crew. He was the comic of the Rat Pack, I think, for a while there. So, yeah, he's one of those real old-timey comics. Hey, one of those guys who has 7 million jokes on the top of their head, those one-liners and joke book guys.
Steve Buscemi from The Sopranos.
Yes, exactly. That's a good Joey Bishop.
So annoying.
This got him a little more famous because Joey Bishop was on national TV. Yeah. And back then, there's 3 channels and no cable. So if you were on a fucking national TV talk show, you were famous the next day.
People will know you.
Oh, yeah. Period. Yeah. Remember, even like comics talk about like when you were on The Tonight Show in like 1981, the next day, people would recognize you walking down the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, some comic was a waiter, too, and the next day he was waiting tables, and immediately first 2 customers recognized, you were on The Tonight Show last night. The hell are you doing here?
I know you.
Yeah. What are you doing here?
Why are you refilling my water?
Yeah. Whereas now you could be on the biggest thing on television and no one sees it. No one cares.
Nobody has a clue.
No one knows anything. But back then, even the shit show, 30 million people were watching it, even if it was the bad show.
Unless that show's Instagram page shows a clip of you.
Yeah. Then maybe. So this was got him also. Now a lot of women saw him, and he was pretty popular with the ladies.
Yeah.
Because he's got a swagger to him, number one.
Yeah.
He's ballsy.
Chicks love a dude on a motorcycle.
Well, yeah, especially back then when it was like,
cool. It was counterculture.
Let's be honest now. It's not cool now like that because everybody's dad has a motorcycle. It's not cool.
Well, here's the thing about motorcycles.
Just a form of transportation now.
You got to have credit to get a motorcycle now.
That's the thing. Yes. So
back then
it was
right. Back then you didn't have credit. That's why you rode a motorcycle.
because you built it.
Right.
You fucking put it together and you
made it. Right.
You were covered in shit from it all the time. Motorcycle
now that
viscera.
motorcycle costs you $38,000.
Yeah.
And you need a 780 credit score to buy
No
it.
shit. Oh, man. So on the Joey Bishop show, he brought a motorcycle out on the fucking stage with him. And some guy just slapped it together as like, here's what a rocket bike would look like. Because he's going to talk about jumping the Grand Canyon still. And he's like, I need a rocket bike. So he brings out this thing. And it's sort of a motorcycle with like wings crazy glued to it. And it's not an operational prototype. It is a...
It's a gag.
It might as well be made of cardboard. Like it's one of those things, right? So there's a guy named Doug Malowicki, and he's the chief rocket designer at rocket design manager at Century Engineering in Phoenix. He built actual rockets.
No shit.
They were the leading maker of like hobby rockets, like science classes, or I took my son out in a park and we did it. Like
those must be. Yeah, I've never seen those really much elsewhere. I've seen a shitload of those in Arizona.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
people
room
in the desert, people in the park.
And
yeah.
no trees to catch them and shit like that. So I took my son out. We fired off a few of those last year when I was out there.
Just,
so
you got to chase the fucking thing when it comes down.
Yeah, one got caught in a tree, and we were like, "Well, that's that. We're not doing that again." That one's gone. It's exactly what it was. So this guy's doing that. And this guy was intrigued by the idea of a rocket-powered motorcycle flying off a ramp and out over the Grand Canyon. He said that's because in his mind, he goes, well, he starts putting the physics of it together and goes, well, it's possible. You could do that.
Yeah, engines aren't that hard to build. It's just a shitload of sulfur.
And that's the thing. And he's talking about you just need the right thrust. And, you know, the hardest part of it would be to make it look like a motorcycle because what he's going to ride is not a motorcycle. It's not, but they have to make it sort of look like a motorcycle. And really, it's just like a little, like, rocket pod is the best way to fucking put it. Right. So, anyway, he convinced another guy that he worked with, this Malowicki guy, to come along and to this Watkins Ford, which is where they were showing off Evel's rocket bike that he put out there. Yeah. He said, come.
It's a dealership?
It's a dealership, yeah. It's just a car dealership. And
wonder why they would want people to come down.
Yeah, wonder. So this guy's like, come on down and let's look at this fucking thing. And
where? At Watkins Ford.
At Watkins Ford, where 0% financing through Sunday. Unapproved credit, of course.
So $500 off any Ford Lincoln Mercury.
So part of the presentation, along with the 40-foot flatbed and the trucks and the motorcycles, was the prototype jet cycle for the Canyon Jump. Now, it was a guy named Ray Gunn that we talked about that had the motorcycle shop from Moses Lake. He's the guy who slapped it together. So he doesn't know shit about rocket propulsion and physics or any of that shit. He sells motorcycles in
flaps or lift, none of that.
No. Sells fucking dirt bikes in rural Washington. Knows dick about this shit. Right. So he just made it look like a cool-looking motorcycle. So the way this guy put it, he said the prototype was nonsense, partly slapped together by Ray Gunn, who'd been hired as Knievel's mechanic, truck driver, and general handyman. And Gunn said he'd been...
Man of many parts.
Doesn't know... Yeah, I don't hear physics fucking scholar in there anywhere. Nowhere.
May as well be president of the anti-Chinese league.
Yes, exactly. None of this makes you be able to make a rocket motorcycle of any fucking stretch. So Gunn said he'd be asking me to go with him from the beginning, but I couldn't see any financial sense in it. Then when he crashed at Caesar's Palace and got all that publicity, I thought it might be worthwhile after all. Oh, look at you, fair weather asshole. So
how can I capitalize? What can I sell based on this bullshit?
How can I fucking when I said no at first, I didn't believe in the guy.
Right.
So Gunn had attached a pair. This is from the Evel Knievel book here. Gunn had attached a pair of ominous-looking wings and a pair of bottle-shaped thrust units to an ordinary motorcycle to create a contraption Evel could use when he talked about the jump on television or in front of crowds. It was just a prop. Yeah. So they said Evel had wheeled it onto the set of the Joey Bishop show 2 months earlier, sat down with Jerry Vale, Leslie Gore, and Charlie Callis, and talked about doing the jump on July 4th, 1968. The thing looked like a science fiction version of a deranged mechanical housefly.
You just got to get yourself in front of people and then sell your shit and then figure it out later.
Have the balls to be blatantly full of shit in front of people and
Yeah.
they believe it. It's incredible how much people believe bullshit from confident charlatans. It's wild. It's fucking incredible how dumb
Get
people
the
are.
deal, and then I'll figure it out later. That's his
it.
whole plan with everything.
And he's like, I'll figure it out and we'll slap it together, because there's some of these jumps that he makes where it's like, he's like, yeah, there's no way with this I can make it. But he's like, I'll figure it out on the fly. It's like,
I'll try.
What? You can't just figure that out. Again, physics, Evil. Evil should have just taken like 2 college physics courses. Would have saved him so many injuries if he was just like, yeah, that's impossible because this doesn't go to here. It's not going to work.
But the thing is, if he doesn't make it, it makes the next jump so much more interesting because then people are rooting for him to make it because they feel bad. They just watched a man break his hips.
Well, the fucking problem is they just want him to crash. It becomes more of, oh, I bet he's going to crash because they want to see the soaring over shit, and they get to see that whether he crashes or not. And then when he lands, they get to see a spectacular crash. It's like people for years and years just watch NASCAR to see crashes because they're like, oh, there's going to be 180-mile-an-hour car crashes. I don't see that all the time.
That and hockey to watch fights.
Fights.
I mean, I guess the humanity is lost when you get to see carnage. Who gives a shit?
Exactly. You don't know this
carnage.
fucking guy.
Right.
And he seems like a lunatic. Fuck him. So this guy said Malowicki, the engineer, as he looked at it during his lunch hour, was aghast at what he saw. The deranged mechanical housefly was worthless, a piece of garbage, a hoax. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. He had the outrage of a basic slide rule book smart nerd finding something so obviously wrong that the general public assumed was legitimate.
He's a general contractor fixing the previous general contractor's errors. I can't believe
Oh, my God. They put these joists don't even go to go. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
Every time. Who would do this?
Even fucking barbers do that. Who did that? Oh, my God. Look at things over here. What do you do? Everybody does
any
that.
Professional doing something after another quote-unquote professional.
It's so funny. He said, where were the general public's brains? His buddy Cameron, part of the 99% of Americans who knew little about rockets and mostly didn't care, listened and said, hey, if you feel so strongly about it, leave him a letter.
Yeah.
So Malowicki borrowed 3 pieces of stationery and a pen from the Bill Watkins Ford receptionist. He's
got to write a 3-page
letter. Well, he details how shitty this thing is and how useless it is and how this is a piece of garbage. But he did outline how a proper rocket cycle could actually clear the canyon and land with you not being killed. You actually could do this.
Wile E. Coyote blueprint.
Yeah, so this guy is like, listen, stop ordering shit from Acme. It's not working out. So he filled 3 pages, left it with the receptionist, and the receptionist put it in an envelope, and this guy said, you never thought he'd hear from this guy or whatever. He said Knievel called him the next afternoon.
Really?
Yeah. He said, quote, what kind of bullshit is this? The daredevil wanted to know. Who are you to tell me what I should be doing? So Malowicki said he was antagonistic. He was mad. I could never figure that out. He knew what he had was bogus, so why would he start out antagonistic? He was mad at me. For what? You knew you glued wings to a fucking Harley and stuck it on a fucking... You know that's not going to fly over a canyon. Don't yell at me for understanding science.
You stapled antlers to a mouse's head, Scrooge. You can't do that.
That's not going to work.
Right.
It's slowly losing brain fluid right now. So it said Malowicki made rockets for a living. So he ended up saying that he recruited 4 other engineers who had heard about Evel Knievel in the canyon to come to his house and work on a prototype. He said, let's work on it for you.
That's his way of challenging him. It's his way of
Who are
telling
you
him
to
that
do
he's
that?
full of shit.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And that's what's going to charge this man up to go ahead and do it for him for free.
He's going to do it. Well,
I'll prove you wrong, Evil.
He's going to build this just to talk a model. This guy said, I can build you a model in a couple of days. Because that's what we do, and then obviously we'd have to make it bigger later. But
sure, to scale, right?
So he said that it was basically a rocket with wheels, and he said that's what Evel was talking about, so that's what we built. So a day or 2 later, Evel called Malowicki and invited him to the hospital, and he could be basically Malowicki went to take it to the jump because he said, meet me at this jump I'm doing. And bring it there, and I'll look at it. So Malowicki and these 4 guys got it on a truck, and they brought it there. When they got there, Evel wasn't at the jump because in the practice rounds, he had already shattered a pelvis and cracked his arm, and he was gone. He was out. So
he's at the emergency room.
He's at the emergency room. He's fucked. So they were like, shit. Okay, so they left with the motorcycle, and we're like, I guess we don't know what's going on.
Show him another time.
So this time he got invited to the hospital, and he said that Evel had heard that the model rocket firing had been good. It worked out from what he heard, so he's interested. So anyway, sits him down. This guy says, this is the engineer, he says, quote, sitting in a chair outside Evel's room was his wife, Linda. I introduced myself. She was very nice. She told me to go inside, and, well, it was classic Evel Knievel. He was in the room with a blonde go-go dancer. His wife is outside in the chair, and he's in there with this blonde. His wife is outside the door. And
what an angel.
This is crazy. This guy is like, listen, sweetheart, there's going to be a hot chick coming in. You let her in and close the door and shut your ears, all right? So he said they seemed very friendly. His leg was in a big cast. It was the absolute perfect introduction to the man. Yeah, hospital room with a blonde chick with his wife outside, and he's full of shit. So Malowicki convinced Knievel, and maybe the go-go dancer, that's funny from the book, that he could build a rocket motorcycle that could take the Daredevil across the canyon of his choice. He said this not only could be done, it could be done easily. He said,
any canyon?
And he said, yeah. Well, I mean, as long as you're fire, he said, NASA's getting ready to send people to the moon. We can fucking fire you across a canyon. That's not that hard. On a rocket, I mean, it's not going to be a motorcycle, but we could definitely get you across a canyon. So Knievel liked the idea and wanted to make a deal. So he convinced Malowicki that you can make a lot of money off this in the future. He offered him 30% of any canyon jumping profits. Plus expenses to build the shit. So he'll pay to build it, and you get 30% of my canyon jumping profits, which seems like a good deal.
Yeah.
They made the deal.
Pays off, yeah.
Yeah. And the engineer said, quote, there was no contract, it was just a handshake, which that's a mistake with Evel right there.
Yeah, don't do that.
You got to hold Evel down certainly with contracts and
with a lawyer's written contract.
Notarized
don't write it on a bar napkin.
No,
Get some witnesses around this.
You need something here. So this guy said, I was 28 years old. What did I know? Not to make a deal with Evel. So May 19th, 1968, he's trying to keep his name in the news. So this is when he starts really amping up and ramping up the Grand Canyon talk. He's trying to do that. So this newspaper article here from the Arizona Republic, actually.
Oh, really?
From 1968, says Evel Knievel routinely jumps a motorcycle over lineups of 10 to 13 automobiles and wants to vault the Grand Canyon in a two-wheeler on Labor Day. And first reaction is, why? Or what kind of flaky thing is this? Yeah. And then you meet the intently serious young gentleman who deems to do the impossible and understand Evel Knievel must fly motorcycles for the same reason men climb mountains or plumb the sea. Because it's there, I suppose. Yeah. Traditionally, yeah. Adventure first, publicity and capital gain to a degree, but mostly because there lies rich and blooded desire, the urge to do the impossible. Maybe impossible isn't the word. Knievel is in the valley to expedite negotiations with the Navajo Indian Council and sundry governmental controllers and finalize plans to jump a superbike 1.1 miles over the Grand Canyon.
Holy shit. Is that how far he's trying to go?
Over a mile.
A mile.
Which, again, if you're in a fucking rocket, easy.
Yeah.
Not a problem. I mean, it's not a motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's not that big of a deal if there's brakes and a soft landing. But if you're just
they're gonna
belaying yourself across the
essentially
open canyon.
The plan is to fire him off in a rocket over the canyon, and then he's going to parachute down. So it's not even it's nothing to do with a motorcycle jump. Literally,
it's not a motorcycle jump at all.
It's just firing a man in a rocket over a hole and then watching him parachute to the ground. It's a model rocket with a guy in it. That's it.
That's just vertical or horizontal skydiving. That's what that is.
That's all it is. You're going up first, and you're coming down in the craft. That's all. Skydiving without jumping from anything.
That's essentially those little army parachute men that we used to throw in the air. You know what I mean? Remember those?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you throw them up and the parachute comes. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. He says, quote, I've offered the Indians $100,000 or 50% of the TV rights, whichever is greater. That's the deal he's trying to make. The Triumph 650 he'll ride will be streamlined, equipped with a special turbo engine supplemented by booster rockets, and will have a small wingspan and stabilizer to give it an airplane-like appearance. More like the other way around. It's a little rocket airplane thing that's given two motorcycle wheels to make it look like a motorcycle. It's not a motorcycle. There's hardly any of it is motorcycle.
But it's a motorcycle engine, a 650? That doesn't seem like enough power.
No, because it's not even going to be on.
Yeah.
The motorcycle engine's irrelevant.
Oh.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, because it's rocket engine.
It's a rocket. It's just a little rocket pod that they try to make look as much like a motorcycle as possible so he can say it's a motorcycle jump and not just I'm a human fucking hobby rocket. Because that's what he is, essentially.
I'm an experimental aircraft.
That's all it is. Yeah, let's do this. They said, according to Knievel, the takeoff ramp will have to be 700 feet long, as much as 200 feet high.
Yeah, it's got to have
crazy
trajectory that's insane.
Think about the ramp that is 700 feet long, 200 feet high. 200 feet is a 20-story fucking building. Think about
it is
a 700-foot long ramp that goes up 20 stories.
45.
That's fucking crazy.
It's got to be higher than 45 degrees, right?
Right. It's got to. You need the.
It's got to be like 20 degrees.
Wow, that is fucking insane. And the jump
80 degree, I guess. God damn.
The jump from north to south will give him a 600-foot variance, the south rim being that much lower. So it's going to come down. So that's why he needs the. Yeah. He said, Evel said, the machine will be capable of 250 to 300 miles an hour going into the ramp, where I'll cut in jet power. I'll ride the arc until I'm above the south rim, going 300 miles an hour. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's when he'll cut the jet power in at 300 miles an hour?
He's going to get the bike up to 250, he says. Then he's going to bring the jet power in at 300 and switch that on.
Right. So that 650 is going to do 250 miles.
That's what he's saying. That's what I mean, because he's going to juice it up,
Right.
Yeah. And the fucking wheels won't come off.
Yeah, he won't melt pistons in the process.
Jesus. Imagine that you'd just be pinned in the red, I would imagine. How many gears does this thing have?
Yeah, how many fucking RPMs?
It's a 38 speed. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. Keep fucking shifting.
Just keep banging gears, man. Grab another.
Wow. Then I'll
be the biggest transmission ever built.
That'd be wild, right? I don't know how you'd even the transmission would be bigger than the whole rocket. Then I'll pop my parachute and float to Earth. Another chute is intended to salvage the bike. Okay.
Oh, so the bike's got its own.
Yeah, he's supposed to pop out of the fucking thing, basically, in the parachute.
Okay. He's going to eject.
He's got to eject, and then they both fall separately, which that does not work at all when it happens, and it makes it hilarious.
Well, no. The Indians are going to be upset.
Oh, man.
The natives, they're going to be upset because that's littering.
You're littering a motorcycle. So he said, I cleared okay. Well, he was talking about the Caesar's Palace jump. He said, I cleared okay, but I was just a trifle short hitting the landing ramp. Only because I knew how to roll and absorb the shock, I was able to come off alive. So he says, quote, I heal fast. You'd have to.
I'm Deadpool. Okay.
What the fuck, man? He says that he went into Las Vegas, a solid 206 pounds. He said he lost 60 pounds during convalescence, which wasn't true.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
But now he's back to 180 and feeling great. None of that's true.
Okay.
He just
60 pounds.
60 pounds.
Congrats on your AIDS or cancer.
He said about the jumping the canyon, a fellow up in Butte, Montana told me I was only 600 feet across the narrowest point, and I assured him I could jump that. Yeah, I was surprised when I found out it was a mile, but I still believe I could make it. This guy said 600 feet, no problem. Oh, a mile? Well, I mean, that's a little longer than 600 feet, like...
I suppose I can try it.
Like fucking 8 times less than that, but yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. If you were going to go 600 and you're just like, I'll just shoot a mile and I'll make the 600.
That's not even close at all.
Wow.
That's like saying, I'm going to fight a child or I'm going to fight the heavyweight champion of the world. Either one. Don't know which one yet.
Both I'm capable of.
I think I'm capable of either. They said with rich TV contracts and sponsor pledges, if he does it, Knievel is a one-of-a-kind entrepreneur with no competition in his trade that is uniquely lucrative. Yeah, there was no other. Yeah. There was daredevils doing shit, but there was no, nobody else like this.
Nobody saying they're going to jump a mile, James?
Nobody doing that. So after his Vegas crash, 5 months later on May 25th, 1968, in Scottsdale, he tries to jump 15 Ford Mustangs.
Yeah.
And crashes. Doesn't make it.
Yeah, probably on that McDowell Motor Mile.
Yep.
Huh?
Breaks his right leg and foot as a.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. Fucked himself all up there too. That's the problem. All of these jumps, none of them you land and you get up and go, whew, man, that hurt a little bit. Like they're all broken bone jumps. Like you can't land and not destroy yourself.
The bikes he's jumping, dude,
are not made for this either.
No, these are fucking cruisers.
Nope, they didn't make bikes like this.
No,
that.
The suspension on them is trash.
Nope.
You're gonna bottom out as soon as you hit, and then your body's got to absorb the rest. And if you don't absorb it and stay on the bike, it's over.
It's fucked.
It's going to be ugly.
Later on, he'll end up riding this American Eagle bike, which is basically American Eagle was some repackaged shitty Italian motorcycle that was like a big heavy piece of shit. And he was riding that, trying to jump it, doing that. He's crazy.
Now it's clothing for feminine men.
Yeah, now it's clothing from 1998 is what it is now. Does that still exist?
A hell of a flannel, yeah.
It does? Wow.
They make a great flannel.
Interesting. I didn't know that place even existed anymore. I haven't seen an American Eagle since 2007, I think.
Is it owned by Hollister?
Again, Hollister's one of those. Does that still exist?
Yeah. Oh, it does. Yeah.
Wow. What the fuck are you people? Why are you buying that shit still?
Because girls love it. The teenage girls buy it like fucking
That's
crazy.
What I mean.
I
how?
take my daughter in there all the time.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
We made fun of this a long time ago. Why are you still wearing it? That's what I'm trying to get at.
And Abercrombie's coming back,
too. Get the fuck out of here. No, it's not.
Again.
Yeah, no,
it is.
No.
I swear.
And if I see a child wearing that shit, I'll make fun of him. Stop. That shit was mockable when it was
very
big.
Popular again.
It shouldn't be popular at all.
It is.
It's garbage. It's fucking garbage. It's clothes for douches. It's doucheware.
My daughter fucking loves it.
Oh, God. Poor kid.
She can't get enough.
She doesn't know.
Wait, is Hollister owned by Abercrombie?
Who the fuck
and
knows?
American Eagle is its own thing? I don't know.
Who cares?
They're all three the same thing.
It's all terrible clothes in places with fucking that smell weird. Every one of those stores smells weird. I don't like it. No good. So, Arizona Republic here. Evel Knievel grounded is an article here in 68. Evel Knievel may be sidetracked, but he's not finished. The motorcycle daredevil suffered a multiple compound fracture of his right leg Saturday night in a practice jump for a scheduled exhibition at Beeline Dragway. Multiple. He said, I got up too much speed, and I went past the landing ramp, managed to hang on, but I ended up in a heap and shattered the leg in 3 places. I'll be in a cast 6 weeks, but I hope to be jumping again in about 90 days. Okay. He's out of his mind.
He's going to jump on the beeline too?
I guess the raceway out that was where it was scheduled to take place. Yeah.
It's out there off by the
way the fuck out
Salt
there.
River.
Yeah, out there.
Fountain Hills.
When you get outside of everything, there it is.
Yeah,
out there.
it's all desert.
It's all desert, yeah.
Just a racetrack out there.
June 11th, 1968, here.
Yeah.
Again, he really keeps it going with this Grand Canyon jump, man. He's in all of these articles. He must have, the weird part is he doesn't have like a PR guy. He's doing this all himself, which is wild. Wow. He says about the Caesar's Palace jump, I'll admit the Caesar's Palace jump accident shook me pretty bad. It gave me the sensation of a fly being splattered on a windshield. I woke up 14 days later. Not true. He was fine. He was in the hospital joking with that guy an hour and a half later.
It gave me the sensation of death?
Yeah, because that's what he wants. He wants everybody to think that every time he goes out there, more likely than not, he'll be dead.
Yeah,
because people want to
watch.
People want to see that spectacle. Don't you want to see a man kill himself? Okay. So, which is really fucking funny.
Fascinating.
He said that the nearest anyone ever came to breaking my record for jumping over cars is my stuntman Jack Stroh, who jumped over 10. Jack still performs a stunt that I quit doing after I missed once and ended up in the hospital. That's the jumping over you, leapfrogging you deal there.
Jumping Jack, yeah.
Old Jumping Jack there. I like this article, June 19th, 1968, from the Albuquerque Tribune. And the headline is, "The big question is why?" That's...
Yes.
Why? Why must...
it's money, that's why.
I mean, there's got to be a better way to make a fucking living, though.
This is his job, because theft is illegal, evidently.
He found that out. He's like, oh, man, this is bullshit. I can't even steal things. Yeah. So, June 30th, 1968, Salt Lake Tribune, Evel Knievel, just the man to talk about cycle jump. Okay. First of all, the name Evel Knievel raises eyebrows to a sort of "are you kidding" level. Next, his story of broken bones, broken motorcycles, and a spectacular series of death-defying jumps he has taken in his 29 years spreads the eyeballs wide open. This is every newspaper in the country. This is like an example of it, is doing this. Mm-hmm. Evel said, "I risk my life every time I sign for and make a jump. Risking my life." He said, "There are sideshows and stuntmen traversing the country from one end to the other, but believe me, I am no stuntman, and we do not put on a sideshow."
Okay. This isn't a circus. This is for real.
This is real shit right here. Yeah, he said,
this is talent.
"Time marches on. While scratching the tender area," they say, "while scratching the tender area around the stitches." He says that.
Gross. Yeah.
"I know each time I start to make a jump that it could be my last, but life has been full of challenges for me, and you can't meet a motorcycle challenge sitting in a motel room.
Yeah.
Got to get out there and do it." So that's what he says. He says, "I'm searching for publicity." That's a fact. So, he says from his motel room while his pert wife Linda and 3 children romped around the swimming pool outside. He said, "But I was told we would be in the Grand Canyon when we made the plans for the 3/4-mile jump. If that's not the case now, we," meaning everybody in the team here, "will do everything legal under the sun to get a spot from which to jump inside the Grand Canyon." I don't know what the point of that would be. The whole point is to see if you fall 3 miles to your death. Inside the canyon, who cares?
You can't get a crowd around inside the Grand Canyon.
No, that's even outside. It'd be so hard to gather a crowd. Where would they park? Yeah. Where would they? How? You know what I mean?
There's no air conditioning, James. We learned that on Your Stupid Opinions.
We learned that for sure. Yeah, it's very mid from what I understand.
There's no vending machines.
There's no restaurants. There's no fucking.
What a bunch of bullshit.
God damn. So they said he doesn't earn $10,000 to $15,000 a week for nothing. He also doesn't make $10,000 to $15,000 a week at all. Yeah. He'll do a jump for $2,500, be broken for 2 months, and have to pay hospital bills and everything else.
Right. Or the guy will pay his hospital bills and then never do business with him ever again.
Ever. Right under this is an ad for a tear gas pistol.
What?
Look at this fucking thing, dude.
You can just buy that?
Look, in 1969 you could, I guess.
God damn.
That is wild. Protect yourself, protect your home, protect your business. Men, give this gun to your wife or daughter. Holy shit.
Tear gas the shit out of somebody.
Wow. Stops aggressor without permanently injuring him. fires 5 cartridges without reloading. It holds 5 tear gases.
5 rounds.
Are you trying to get the fucking Waco people to come out? What? Like how often do you need 5 tear gas rounds? Yeah. You could clear a shopping mall with that. That's insane. Holy shit.
That would have been funny if that day just a whole bunch of women showed up and they're like, I brought my purse with my tear gas in it. I'll get them out.
I got this. Holy shit.
Send the ATF home.
I got this. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. My husband gave this to me. My daughter has one too if we need more.
She's back up.
Each gun comes with 10 tear gas shells and 10 blanks for practice.
Just to scare folks.
What the fuck? Do you do it like birdshot, buckshot type of situation?
Stagger them.
Holy shit,
what
man.
A hilarious weapon. I mean, it's essentially bear spray, but it's in a fucking
It's a
pistol.
fucking tear gas gun. And if you're worried about, the safety of this, don't worry. It says right on here, not sold to minors. So that's good.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
It's fine. The kids can't buy it. Don't worry about it. One gun, $13. 2 guns you get for $11 each. You get a bargain. 3 guns, $9.50 each. 4 guns or more, $8.50 each.
Wow.
And an extra box of 10 tear gas shells is $1.50, and an extra box of 100 blanks is $1.75.
That's the most affordable self-protection I've ever heard
That's
of.
crazy. You can get a gun and 10 more of these things, 20 tear gas things for $14.50.
Under $100, you can get like fucking 10 of them.
You could clear a stadium for under $15. You could just a stadium running for their lives. That is fucking amazing. July 5th, 1968, Deseret News in Utah there. They said that Evel Knievel is a successful family man. He has a pretty wife named Linda, 3 energetic children ages 4 to 7, and an excellent salary with which to support them, sometimes upwards of $10,000 a week. At this point in time, he is dead broke, by the way.
$10,000 a week.
Does not make $10,000 a week, which would be...
But his wife's hot as shit,
Oh,
so there's that.
That's great. His kids are rambunctious and his wife's pert, so don't worry about it. Pert. $10,000 a week would be $520,000 a year, which is great money in 2024. Back then, fucking Frank Sinatra wasn't making that kind of money. You know what I mean? Hank Aaron wasn't making that a year. Like, literally, to play fucking...
That's unbelievable.
Like, this is crazy. But few family men make their living the way Evel does, defying death with motorcycle stunts that verge on the border of being unbelievable. That's what he keeps doing. He says, I'll bet if I offered you, this is Evel talking, because they say, why do you keep doing this?
Excellent question.
What's the story, man? He says, I bet if I offered you $16,000 to jump 15 cars on a motorcycle, you wouldn't do it. The fact that the challenge is there is the biggest incentive.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Why? If you didn't know how to jump motorcycles over cars, no amount of money would make you be able to do that. That's the thing.
And what he's doing has almost zero talent involved in it. It's or capability.
All it is balls.
Is shifting and then holding on tight. Because
balls.
there's an engineer that's figuring out the trajectory and how fast you got to be going to do it. That's all.
You have to know at least, am I going fast enough? Am I going to be able? That's it. But otherwise, it is just balls. You're just
fucking hang on.
Who do you have the guts to fucking almost kill yourself? More than 50% of the time. Do you have those balls?
Yeah.
So they say Evel's latest idea to jump the Grand Canyon or a gorge nearby on a $25,000 motorcycle equipped with he pulled that out of his ass. They haven't even built the fucking bike yet. They have no idea what it's going to cost. Yeah. So he says, equipped with wings and jet power, when near enough the other side, he plans parachuting to safety. Admittedly, it sounds impossible, especially at first. But after you realize some of the things Evel's already accomplished, you begin to wonder. Then you look at his $15,000 maroon Rolls Royce, natty sports suits, finally the elaborate preparations he's made for the Grand Canyon jump, and you begin to think he may just be zany and confident enough to make it.
Yeah.
They said, for his sake and his family's, we hope so.
I hope so too, yeah.
Now, here we go. If you you've looking at this and you're like, this is all great. Maybe I should change my image. Well, right under this, you can get, here we go.
More hair.
Toupees. Five name brand toupees. Financing available.
I wear one.
Either Doug, I love this guy. I wear one. No shit, Rug. We can see that.
It's very obvious, man.
We see your goddamn area throw rug on your head. That's nice. Talk to either.
It's so common, James. I see them fucking everywhere.
Rugs?
So many people are wearing them.
Rugs.
And they're bad. If people are wearing them and I don't recognize them, good for them. But I see bad ones all the time.
Especially now, isn't there don't famous people get surgeries all the time and get their hair fixed and shit? I don't know what the fuck they do, but there's got to be something.
There's people that are plugging away at their. There's famous comics that are doing it now. It's so fucking embarrassing. Get over yourself. You're losing your
especially
hair.
if you're a comedian. If you're a comedian, honestly, you should see that as here's another fucking 10 minutes. I'll start making fun of myself for being bald. Great, good. I need that.
Watching these guys fucking hair plug it's so sick, so sad.
Nothing,
I feel so bad for them.
Nothing worse than a comic who wants to be handsome. Because
yeah.
The whole reason you're a comic is because there's something you didn't get when you were younger, and rather than embracing that and knowing it, you're still trying to get it, but also trying to get the nerd cred at the same time. Fuck you. You can't have both.
So terrible.
It's weird. So talk to Doug or Lamar for a toupee, and it says under there, strict privacy, everybody. So just in case you're worried about that. Yeah. You don't want Doug or Lamar.
Discreet, like housewives buying dildo.
Yeah, that's all. You don't want. We're not going to be yelling your name out in the street here about your toupee. Here's an article from the Idaho State Journal. Knievel performs motorcycle stunt at Blackfoot Oval.
Okay.
So Knievel, who claims to the world record, they say, he's going to jump 16 parked cars.
Okay.
So that's what he's going to do. He says, as many cars as I can get traction for. That's what he said. So he's going to do it. July 28th, 1968, Evel hits one car but sails over 10 vehicles. That's not good. That's not good here. Knievel's motorcycle flew approximately 30 yards from ramp to ramp. The rear wheel bounced off a flat-roof trailer parked next to the landing ramp, but Knievel held the big Triumph under control to land safely. So he did it.
So he jumped 11.
He did it. He rocked it out there. What else we got here? July 31st, 1968. Here, there is a cartoon. And it looks like Boise Dodge has an ad here.
Uh-oh.
And they have an ad including Evel Knievel. This is in Idaho. See Evel Knievel's motorcycle that will jump the Grand Canyon. We've got it here. This bullshit wings glued to a fucking Triumph shitbox motorcycle is being literally shipped from car dealer to car dealer all over the West Coast. Come see the motorcycle that obviously isn't going to make it across.
It's not going to do it.
A fucking Grand Canyon here, but they're trying to get people in. August 3rd, 1968, he returns to jumping, makes more money than he ever did before. Now he's making dough. Now people are offering him, some people are offering him $25,000 to come jump.
Yeah.
Which is a big fucking deal now, or at least that's what he says. So who knows here, but he's doing much better. Evel Knievel finally, August 20th, 1968, he finally hears from the Interior Department.
Oh?
These are the people that have
government's going to give him a rocket?
Well, these are the people that have to clear him for the job.
Oh,
he needs
FAA.
to hear about that from them and then from the Navajo people at the same time. He has to get cleared by two agencies to jump because you're jumping from one side to the other. So it's a lot going on here. Evel Knievel, they say, unfortunately for Knievel, or fortunately, depending on your own fears and faith, Evel has a recent letter from Stuart Udall, Secretary of the Interior, and it says, don't jump. Evel, who's scheduled to jump 13 parked automobiles at the fairgrounds next Monday night, has been long preparing for the attempted canyon jump here. He says, I have a letter from the Department of the Interior of 2 years ago. He says, that gives me permission to try it as long as I take off and land outside Grand Canyon National Park. It even wishes me luck. Now this, Secretary Udall has reneged on his promise of 2 years ago. I'll sue him. If it's possible to sue him, my attorney will find out about that.
Yeah, but if you do it and land inside the park, now you've broken a law.
That's the thing. And there's no way to, there's just no way. There's
No way
so
to
many.
guarantee. Yeah.
There is so much red tape to go through when
Yeah.
you're talking
Right.
about also jumping from like res land to non-res land or back
Right.
and vice versa, whatever. He said, I've had some sponsors, some big sponsors, but one tire company, for instance, didn't want me plunging to the bottom of the Grand Canyon screaming Goodyear. Yeah, that'd be bad. You son of a bitches. He said, I have spent $50,000 on the Sky Cycle. I even have a spare. Bullshit.
It's now called a Sky Cycle.
Yeah, they definitely
Just got its name. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has not spent anywhere. He hasn't given this fucking guy a dime yet.
He doesn't have 50 grand.
And he doesn't have 50 grand. So that's interesting. And they said, well, where are you going to practice? And he said, there's no practice. The Sky Cycle can do it once on a machine that will hit. He said, hit the ramp, full bore, 300 miles an hour, 3,000 pounds of jet thrust. He says the main thing will be maintaining stability after the jets go on. Well, yeah, if you fire, you're going to wobble.
Clearly, yeah.
Anything you fly, anything will fly, if you put enough jet out the back end of it and in proper balance. There's also a danger at separation. When the chute pulls me out of the streamlined canopy, I'll be pulling about 21 Gs.
Okay.
I don't think so. That seems a little far-fetched.
You're only going a mile, dude. Why do you need to go 21 Gs?
21 Gs. That seems, right? That seems... They don't do that in fucking fighter planes, do they? Like, that seems like a lot.
I don't know how many Gs they do, but 21 seems
excessive.
Awfully...
Just too many Gs, Evil. I don't think so.
21 Gs.
Knievel says if Secretary Udall wins the fight, there are other 1 mile jumps in this country. I'll find some other fucking hole to jump.
A mile elsewhere, yeah.
He says, if I make the canyon jump, then I might retire. But this is a great living. You don't have to worry about the competition. Right. No, because there's nobody else is this fucking stupid here. It's basically the letter says it's against public policy to do what he's doing. So I don't know where I doubt there was a policy in place that says, hey,
we just made it up.
Don't let people jump the Grand Canyon in a fucking rocket and parachute to the other side.
Made rocket.
I don't think the founding fathers thought of that as a possibility when that wasn't even part of the country either. So August 25th, 1968, Evel Knievel plans to leap at car races. So he's just doing all these little shitty things, in between this, trying to get publicity for the big shit here. So they said, this is August 29th, 1968, Arizona Daily Sun. Where's Evel, everybody asks, is the headline. Let's find out. Where's Evel? Not a few people around northern Arizona are wondering about jumping Jack and his motorcycle this week. It was a few months ago he predicted he would leap the Grand Canyon on his battered motorcycle on Labor Day. The permission was apparently denied by the National Park Service, but the giant Navajo Nation said okay. But that's the last anyone heard of Evel.
Okay.
Evel's been jumping over everything in sight for almost 3 years, and for that same span, he's been breaking next to every bone in his body with spectacular crashes. So they said he wants to do the Grand Canyon. That was bombed by the Park Service, but the Navajos were approached, and they said, sure, just as long as we aren't liable for any accidents.
Great.
Which is what most people make him sign a waiver wherever he jumps. They said that's about where it stands today as far as the jump, the rumored jump somewhere on the reservation and using the Little Colorado River as a gap. The tribal office contacted, said yes, he has permission. All right. Okay. But so he's got tribal permission to do this. Evel told the tribe he'd guarantee them a percentage of the gate he expected to get, and the tribe said they would build the necessary ramp wherever Evel wanted it. Yeah. He's never picked a site, according to a public relations officer for the tribe. Like a phantom, he's been reported in Page as late as last week, and in Albuquerque at almost the same time. Contacts in Page have no information of that, but Bill Warner, Chamber of Commerce president, noted he'd been in contact on and off with Knievel, and the cycle jumper was in Page about 3 months back to pose for pictures.
Okay.
So, he said, according to the write-up here, Knievel, according to his recent Sports Illustrated article, is 6'1", 198 and uses hairspray. I don't know why that's... In 1968, it wasn't normal for men to use men. That was like, oh, he's a real fancy guy. He uses hairspray.
6'1", waxes his back.
Holy shit. 6'1", plucks his unibrow.
Jesus.
They say he's, quote, undeniably handsome. Recently, according to the write-up, when a waitress in Hollywood nightclub learned he had his heart set on jumping the Grand Canyon, she said, "Oh, God, don't let him do it. He's too beautiful to die."
Okay.
Yeah, he made that up, obviously, and told them about it here. Evel calls himself a conservative wild man businessman, and he still has the green light from the Navajos anytime he wants. So, Interesting here. Has a tough time in Reno. Okay. Yeah. Goes to Reno, where his mom lives. And he brings his mom in, and she makes her wave to the crowd, dedicates this jump to his mom.
Sure.
All this type of shit here. He has a problem, though. They said his motorcycle was in the air for 50 yards on its own power, reportedly a record. He still carries it. Okay, that's from before. All right. So they said he's, I guess he is going to jump in Reno here. He's trying to get insurance, and he can't find insurance here.
Because who the fuck wants to insure that?
The Centennial Coliseum, where he was going to jump, asked him to provide an insurance policy for $4.1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million in public liability, $3 million in catastrophe insurance, and $100,000 for property damage. Lloyd's of London said they would write the policy, but the insurance carrier for the Coliseum refused to approve the policy. So he's having problems there, obviously, with different things. In Reno, he has his mom there, and he crashes again. His mom thought he was dead.
Oh.
His mom said, "Oh my God, he's dead." As soon as he,
that's the end of it.
He was like, it was one of those where this was the one. There was apparently a dip. In the run up, in the way the where it was in the fairgrounds, there was this dip. So when he'd hit the dip, he'd lose speed, coming back up the dip.
Yeah, coming back up. Yeah.
And they did a few practice things, and they never could figure it out. And Evel just said, "Fuck it, I'll figure it out. I'll do it on when I do it. I'll do it." He goes, "I'll make sure I don't lose that much speed.
I'll downshift."
Not possible.
Yeah.
So he went off too soft, and everybody in the crowd, they said everybody gasped as soon as he went off. They were like, "Oh shit, he's not making it." So it was as soon as he came off, you could just see the angle wasn't going to work, and he crashed. And obviously. And so that didn't work out well. His mom thought he was dead, and he was in the hospital in Reno. Here is an ad for him. Sunday, October 13th, Sierra Nevada Auto Racing Association. Modified and stock car races, plus, in person, the spectacular Evel Knievel Daredevil motorcycle jumper. Interesting. So there's a picture of him flying through the air as well. So you got to have that.
He never wore a cape, right? That was just his son?
I think he might have worn it.
Did he ever put one on later?
No, not that I can think of. He had the leathers that he might have had one later, like before when he would ride around.
Yeah,
but I don't think he did jumps with it, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
By the way, we'll talk about it probably on the next show. But there's an Evel Knievel movie. There's two Evel Knievel movies. There's the one that we'll talk of. No. There's one that's about him. That is the story of Evel Knievel that George Hamilton had made and written and everything because he found him so interesting. Then there's a movie he's in.
Yeah.
Where he plays himself, and
oh boy,
and he's the movie, and he's
so bad,
fucking horribly awesome. It's so good. It's on Prime. It's so good. On Prime, they have the Riff Tracks version of it.
Yeah.
So they're making fun of it, obviously, but you can watch it on there on Amazon Prime, the Riff Tracks version of it, and it is. I think it's called Viva Knievel, I believe. Viva Knievel, I think is what it's called. It is absolutely fucking hard. He's such a bad, but like a cocky actor too. Like, hey, buddy, let me tell you something. He's so bad, dude. It's so funny. This is from the Evel book here. On the afternoon of October the 13th, 1968, still well removed from both money and fame, so he had no money at this time, sometimes not making more than a couple $1,000 per show, and that would be including to pay his guys, drive the truck there, have his motorcycle ready, pay his hospital bills. A lot of these jumps, he'd come out upside down on them.
Sure.
So they said the money tied to the gate receipts, Knievel dedicated a jump to his mother. This is Reno. He stopped at the Tahoe Carson Speedway in Carson City outside Reno to jump 10 cars. His mother was at the track along with his half-sisters. They'd been in the crowd at Caesar's Palace, so they know things can happen poorly here. The memory made everyone jumpy, especially his mother. She was so nervous at Caesar's Palace she couldn't even come out of the hotel room to watch. It's okay, Loretta said to her mother. He's done this 1,000,000 times. He's dedicated the jump to you. He made you stand up and wave to the crowd. It'll be fine. Unknown to Loretta and Katie and their mother, there was one hitch in the approach that made this jump different. The dirt racetrack had a dip midway between Knievel's starting point when he hit the ramp. He and Gunn, his mechanic guy, had not been able to figure out the effects of the dip. Every time he went into his approach, he lost speed and didn't have time to recapture it before he hit the ramp. They knew there was a problem, but showtime came, and Knievel said, I'll be fine. Yeah. He said that he just, quote, would make sure he didn't lose speed. Don't worry. I'll make sure physics don't affect me in this one.
Just lean into the throttle.
You're going up a hill. It's like...
Hey everybody, we have some exciting news that we want to share. If you want to go on an adventure with Generation Y, we'd love for you to join us. January 26th through the 30th, 2026, we'll be sailing from Miami to the Bahamas on Wondery's first ever true crime cruise aboard the Norwegian Joy. Aaron and I will be there to chat, hang out, dive into all things true crime, and we're thrilled to be joined by some familiar voices in the true crime podcasting world. Surti and Hannah from Red Handed, Sashi and Sarah from Scamfluencers, and Carl Miller from Kill List. Super excited to hang out with them too. We got some cool activities, interactive mysteries we can solve, testing our forensic skills with a blood spatter expert, and so much more. So for some sun, fun, and just the right amount of mystery solving, come join us. If you'd like to know more and secure your spot, visit exhibitccruise.com for pre-sale information.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Imagine this. You help your little brother land a great job abroad. But when he arrives, the job doesn't exist. Instead, he's trapped in a heavily guarded compound, forced to sit at a computer and scam innocent victims, all while armed guards stand by with shoot-to-kill orders. Scam Factory, the explosive new true crime podcast from Wondery, exposes a multi-billion-dollar criminal empire operating in plain sight. Told through one family's harrowing account of sleepless nights, desperate phone calls, and dangerous rescue attempts, Scam Factory reveals a brutal truth. The only way out is to scam their way out. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Okay, the afternoon was windy, but not windy enough to stop the show. Knievel went through his trial runs, came back to the appointed takeoff spot, this time for real, traveled halfway to the ramp, hit the dip, slowed down, tried to recover on the second half, and couldn't. The moment he left the ramp, the entire crowd knew he would not make the jump successfully. The arc of his motorcycle indicated immediately that he would land very short of his target. Awesome. Quote, "He's dead," his mother screamed even before he hit the panel truck at the end of the line of cars and went flying. The afternoon ended at Washoe Medical Center, his mother holding his hand as he lay in yet another hospital bed. He underwent surgery for a broken left hip the next day, a broken right collarbone later in the week. His discomfort was extended when he picked up a painful and life-threatening staph infection from a catheter.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
Staph in the dick?
And dick staph, yeah. You want your dick to be a staph, not have staph.
Oh, boy.
He said, quote, this is his Ray Gunn. He said, quote, "He was a sick guy. Just to visit him, I had to take off my clothes and wear one of those hospital uniforms." Because he had a staph infection. I know that because when Rod had his staph infections, I went and visited him. They made you put on a whole suit. It was crazy. No Jay Sarno appeared from Caesar's Palace to provide financial assistance for the hospital bill this time. Any money from those combined insurance policies had been spent long ago. Scam policies. He was on his own. The racetrack promoter, in fact, declared in the newspaper that Knievel had to sign a liability waiver as part of the contract. One day ran into another, as hospital time tends to do, and Knievel complained to everyone that he wanted to go back to Butte. When no plans were made for that to happen, he made his own plans.
He
escaped? He escaped. Now, he owes a shitload of money at this hospital, and he just takes off.
Yeah.
So Ray Gunn showed up at the hospital with a station wagon in the middle of the night.
Jailbreak.
Jailbreak his ass. He collected Knievel in a wheelchair, padded quietly and deliberately through the hospital maze, careful to keep out of sight of nurses and doctors. Gunn almost lost his man when they reached the outside, and the wheelchair stopped short, and Knievel flew back through the air as if he'd been shot off a motorcycle one more time. But eventually Gunn helped him back into the chair. He dumped him with a broken hip.
Yeah.
And they reached the station wagon. Knievel lay in the back moaning. Gunn drove. They stopped in Twin Falls, Idaho, where Knievel knew a man who owned a mattress store. They picked up a mattress, put it in the back. That was better. And they completed their trip to Butte.
And he laid down on the mattress.
Fuck. The Washoe Medical Center soon announced that it was seeking $1,808 for 22 days of care for the Daredevil. That's all that cost back then.
That's incredibly affordable.
That would be, what, $3 million now, I think? Roughly?
Yeah.
With
you're
a couple of
bankrupt.
surgeries?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Knievel claimed he was broke. The 22 days added to the 37 days at Southern Nevada Memorial meant he'd spent almost 2 months in Nevada in hospitals in 1968. Wow. Holy fucking shit. So, yeah, he's all fucked up now. November 23rd, 1968, there's an article saying officials fuss over stunter's hospital bill.
Yeah.
It becomes public. He owes this hospital bill, and they're saying they want to collect from him, and they said
doesn't have anything to collect.
No, the district attorney said that Washoe County claim was justified, but questioned Knievel's lack of resources. The district attorney said Knievel's assets included 3 automobiles, and I presume 1 bent motorcycle, he said. So he has something. So they said he tried to perform 1 more jump before the end of the year. He set up a date in Portland at the Coliseum with Ted Pollock. A few days before the jump, no more than 6 weeks after 2 surgeries, he checked into a low-rent hotel in Portland. He looked terrible. He looked like he couldn't walk, much less ride a motorcycle. Yeah. He had a fever, and he had pus coming from open wounds.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's got a persistent staph infection, and he's just like, I'm fucking
infected.
fine. Yeah, I'm fine. He literally said, I'm fine, he assured Pollock.
Yikes.
They said as each day passed, he looked less and less fine because he's got an infection.
Septic.
Yeah. The promotion was also less than fine. Customers were not forming lines outside the box office. Pollock had paired him with country music with an act that featured singer Molly B.
Okay.
How much have you brought in so far, Knievel asked on the day of the show. Maybe $25,000, Pollock said. No more than that. I'm not going to jump, Evel decided. It's not worth it. He's like, I'm not going to make that much money, and I'm all fucked up. Now, Pollock had a partner in the promotion, and Pollock, though, he saw Evel's condition and felt sorry for him. Pollock's partner saw it and said, this guy's fucking up our promotion. He wanted to sue him. He said, basically, Jumper, we're suing you, is what this guy wanted to say. But the other guy, Pollock, said, Bill, just take a look at this guy. If he goes out there and kills himself, you want that on your conscience?
Yeah, that's on you.
He said, look at him. He's in no shape for this. Just forget it. And the other promoter agreed, and he was pissed off. But this guy said he will not announce to the crowd that Evel is sick and unable to perform. He said the people will all get their money back, and they'll still get to see Molly B. That's good.
That's nice, yeah.
But he said, I will not be doing these announcements to tell these people that. So Evel Knievel's father, who had come up for the show, made the announcement that Evel couldn't jump.
Is that right?
Yep. They said Evel didn't jump again until April 24th, 1969, which is like 6 months.
Yeah.
And they said that is, that's a big deal. They said, how could his notoriety from Caesars ever pay off if he couldn't work? He was broke again, slightly famous, but totally broke. Got nothing completely here. Then, this is wild. The Montana Standard has an ad for him, and it says, new ideas for Butte. Tonight on KXLF TV, 11:30 p.m., Robert Evel Knievel, nationally famous motorcycle stuntman, tells why he could not jump the Grand Canyon. See the prototype of the jet-assisted motorcycle he will use to jump the London Bridge in 1970. Okay. New Ideas for Butte, sponsored by Knievel Imports, which is his dad's fucking company. Your Toyota dealer. So this is and you bring this coupon to Knievel Imports, and you get gas for cheaper. They'll fill you up down there. So
is he talking about the London? Is this in London or is it the one in?
No,
Havasu?
I think he means London Bridge, like the London fucking bridge. I don't think he means the Havasu Bridge.
Well, the London Bridge in Havasu is from London.
Oh yeah. No, they brought it over there. Now, why'd they give it to them? Is what I'd like to know.
I don't know.
And why did Havasu was like, give us an old bridge. We'll rebuild it.
I don't understand why they. I don't understand any of it.
I that makes no sense whatsoever to me.
Of a place. How did they become aware of Havasu?
That's what I mean. You can't get two more disparate, oddly different places than Lake Havasu City and London. And did they have any idea that white trash on jet skis would be fucking flying,
scooting underneath it,
flying under it with their wives' pancake fucking saggy, overly tan tits out underneath?
Is there like a Facebook marketplace for bridges where they're like, we need a bridge and we've got one for sale, so that's how we meet.
All of that while blasting George Thorogood from your jet skis stereo. So anyway, they talk about his motorcycles. He briefly used a Honda 250cc to jump the crate full of rattlesnakes and 2 mountain lions, but that's not strong enough to do anything.
No.
So then he used a Norton motorcycle for a 750cc one for only $1966. Then he was using the Triumph Bonneville T120 with a 650cc engine.
Yeah.
Then that he used the Triumph at Caesar's Palace and crashed that. That's that bike. Then he used the Triumph for the remainder of 68. And I guess basically they're talking about how you attempt motorcycle jumps with suspensions that were designed for street riding.
Right.
Not made to jump from the sky. So that's how all these landings are happening. If he had a little bit of bounce, he might be able to hold on. But when it's just all shock and you...
Right, but it's not necessarily the recoil that'll get you. It's when that shock and spring expands, because it's got to be compressed. But once it expands, it just rockets you off of that
You're
fucking
fucked,
thing.
yeah. So they talked about one guy, this is from the book. This is fucking hilarious. He needed a trailer hitch on his car. There's something happened. He needed something weld back on to this hitch, right? So he found a welder in Butte when he was up there. And the guy said, yeah, I could fix that for you. No problem. I can do it today. So this guy said, quote, he told me I'd done a great job. He said that he said the work was so good that he wanted to buy me dinner. That's how good it was.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah.
He said he'd take me to dinner and pay me at the same time. He said I should go back to the hotel, take a good shower, and meet him in the lobby at 7 o'clock that night. So I went back to the hotel and took a shower. He says, I suppose I could still be waiting, except that was 30 years ago. He just that was his way of
I can take a shower.
Not paying this guy to weld.
Distract him long enough to get away from him.
It's so good. Not that that's not good work, I won't pay you. It's so good I need to pay you more. He's such a fucking con man.
I want to give you so much money. Come with me.
Oh, my fucking God. January 6th, 1969, here, the Akron Beacon Journal. Oh, the action line. Call the action line. That's for above that. There's a thing. Call our action line. It's got like a phone.
Yeah.
They said, whatever happened to the guy this is like someone writing into the editor. Whatever happened to the guy who was going to jump the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle?
Whatever. Yeah.
Now they don't even know his name, though. That's the thing. A year's gone by.
It's just a guy.
So they said stuntman Evel Knievel of Butte, Montana, whose real name is Robert, planned to jump the canyon last day on Labor Day. But they talk about the Secretary of Interior and saying he hopes to get a permit this year from the new Nixon administration. If he makes the jump, he and his specially built Sky Cycle, capable of 300 miles an hour, will speeds and equipped with a jet engine and parachutes. Okay, this is the sketch of the Sky Cycle. It's not a motorcycle. It's a rocket car.
Yeah.
It's a car that looks like a rocket.
It looks like a paper airplane. Is what
it kind of does, yeah. Yeah, it looks like one of those foam airplanes you buy and put together, and that's what it kind of looks like. Doesn't look safe to fly over a canyon in here, I would say.
And he's kind of sitting on it like you would on like a crotch rocket, though, so your feet are kind of back rather than forward.
He's just in a little pod.
Yeah.
He's like in a little cockpit almost
in
there. And then the rest of it's supposed to fall away, and he's supposed to like parachute from the cockpit.
Shoot out of it. Okay.
He also he talks about how at this point in time, he is having a lot of steel fatigue.
What does that mean?
Metal fatigue from all the screws and plates in his body are breaking, and he needs to keep having them replaced.
Oh, Jesus.
Because it gets metal fatigue because, you know, when you have screws and shit, you're not supposed to land on a motorcycle putting all that stress on the screws and everything. So he said the screws break. That's what happened. Nothing's wrong with this plate he's talking about in his leg. But, you know, screws break all the time, and I have to keep them. I have to keep replacing them here. So that's what's tough. So no good. He says, though, he tries to keep all of his commitments. That's a big deal. He's like, you know, I don't want to, I get hurt and I have shit scheduled the next week, but, you know, what am I supposed to do? I can't just cancel. He said, I've made 100 car jumps, he said in the paper, and I've missed only 8 times. Not true.
He's jumped 100 times is what he said?
He hasn't jumped 100 times, and he's missed way more than 8 times out of the smaller amount that he said. So it seems like it's about, he's got about a 2/3 success rate, it seems like, from
so far,
anecdotally, from what I'm listening to here. And there's no stats on it, unfortunately. I would love Evel Knievel stats. How many jumps, how many cars, all that kind of shit.
Successful and not successful.
Yeah. So he keeps talking about these fucking Grand Canyon, though. He said, I'm determined to jump it in a streamlined shell sky cycle that'll produce 3,000 pounds of jet power. Holy shit. And he keeps complaining about the Department of the Interior. That's his huge complaint now. Those Department of Interior sons of bitches.
The only reason I'm not is because there's overreach of government. That's the reason.
That's what it is. It's just government screwing me over is what it is. That's it. Yeah. Write your congressman and tell him to let me jump the canyon. So the Sacramento Bee has an article, February 10th, 1969. Cycle daredevil breaks ribs in Autorama spill.
Oh, no.
He's all fucked up. Yeah, he fucks himself up there. Motorcycle daredevil Chuck Burt is reported in satisfactory condition with fractured ribs at American River Hospital. This was his replacement for a jump that he couldn't make because he was hurt. So he got this guy to do it. And
he got hurt.
Yeah, he was a former Hollywood stuntman, Burt, and who was a replacement for Knievel, who's on crutches, and he fucked himself up too. So, no one can do this shit. That's the problem.
Well, the thing, is because it doesn't take talent; it takes stupidity.
It just takes a dumb belief in yourself.
Yeah,
or not even that, a dumb belief that you'll be fine no matter what happens. That's the other thing. A narcissism, really, is what it is. You'd have to.
We're overwhelmed with people like this today.
Oh, it's true.
We'd have so many Evel Knievels today.
A trillion Evel Knievels. Everyone would see it and not go, wow, that's crazy. Everything everyone sees, they go, well, I could probably do that.
Well, I'm going to build it in the backyard tomorrow.
If he could do it, then I could probably do it too. Yeah. People are fucking nuts. So
March on TikTok, and I'm going to be famous tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the problem too. They'd be like, I'll be famous, and they wouldn't have to jump 100 different cars. They'd have to have one video. So, and then they'd be fucking stealing weekends at comedy clubs somehow. Next thing you know, they'd be doing an hour. So, March 24th, 1969, it says, Knievel say die is the Roanoke Times headline. Okay. Meet Evel Knievel, a daredevil cyclist with an unlikely name and a dream. The 30-year-old Montanan made $167,000 in the last 2 years. No fucking way.
Even if he did, that 2
all
years
gone.
And the amount of money he spent on hospitals is crazy.
It's fucking ridiculous, man. They keep talking about, does he have a death wish and all this type of shit. And they said, we have a better idea. NASA should let him try for the moon. If he makes it, taxpayers would save a whole lot of money because it would be on TV and whatever, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, he talks about, this is when on April 24th, 1969, the Oregonian. Now, the headline is Metal Fatigue Hits Evel Knievel, Body Screws Breaking. Okay. But he talks about kidnapping his wife in this, which is fucking hilarious.
What?
Yeah, so we'll get to that. He says that in the past 2 years, I've had 7 injuries where I've had major operations. I've broken my left hip and pelvis twice each, broken my left arm, my right ankle and foot, and my right shoulder, both wrists and knees. Besides that, I've had 1 bad brain concussion, and I broke my back. He said, I have a problem with mental fatigue. They keep breaking, blah, 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 blah. He's talks about his fucking canyon jump, and he says, now I just want to do it to keep my word because I said I'd do it. He said, I'm going to make one more effort through Senator Mansfield and my attorney to get permission from the new Secretary of the Interior. If all goes right, this request will be denied. This request also will be denied. Okay, that's what his admirers say because they don't want him to get hurt. So he says, I got my nickname time when they had me in jail back home. At the same time, they had Bill Knievel. He was in jail. The jailer said, we better be careful. We've got an awful Knievel, an evil Knievel. Okay, we knew about that. He says, why? They said, why did they throw you in jail? Why were you in jail to begin with? And he says, I guess it was for stealing some hubcaps. I was in high school then. I went the wrong direction when I was a kid. I was involved in a lot of robberies, but I straightened out. I try to work a lot with kids. I go to detention homes and talk to them. I think I can get through to them better than a lot of people. Here's a guy named Evil these kids can associate with, type of thing.
Yeah.
He said, they talk about his wife. They asked what his wife thinks about his line of work, and he said, she worries a lot, but I think I've just about got her ready to face the facts of life. That I'm a fucking idiot that cares nothing about you or my family, and only myself.
It's going to cost us everything.
If he changes her thinking, it won't be the first time. Quote, she didn't want to marry me in the first place. I kidnapped her. That's true.
Say that, yeah.
They said, you kidnapped her, and he said twice. The first time she was coming out of a movie with her boyfriend. I threw her in my truck. But her boyfriend and some others chased us. I had a blowout, and they caught us. The second time she was at a skating rink, I threw her in the back of my truck. I had another guy driving. They started a manhunt and caught us 2 days later at a roadblock. The kidnapping charge was dropped, but the judge issued a restraining order saying I couldn't see her. He said, I guess Linda finally decided I was a good guy. 6 months later, she consented to go away with me. Holy shit. He said, I'm glad I'm the only guy doing what I'm doing, but, sometimes I wish nobody was doing it, including him, apparently.
Yeah.
Dude, he is a fucking...
Did it twice.
Imagine that.
They got to be taking him with a grain of salt, right? Because if you just say that out loud, you can be arrested for that.
No, I guess, he was, and they dropped the charges.
Wow.
And now they're married, so, I don't think they're going to arrest him for kidnapping his current wife.
Can they just drop charges?
They were married, that's why. From what I understand, the real story is when they caught them, they were married already. And it was like, they were like, what are we going to do now at that point?
Legally married? Yeah,
you still kidnapped a woman and married her. There's got to be something to do, but she was happy, and that was that.
They arrested that guy that kidnapped Elizabeth Smart because even though he married her.
Yeah, no shit. Well, that wasn't the 1961 either.
No, true. Yeah.
You go, back then you could kidnap a woman and marry her, and as long as you married her, they go, well, you made an honest woman out of her, so we really can't say anything about it.
We can't prosecute a man. We can't let her testify against him. They're married.
Yeah, exactly. So Evel Knievel, here's a Montana Standard newspaper. Evel Knievel's cycling life will be filmed by Hollywood.
Okay.
Hinkle Pictures of Studio City, California, an independent motion picture studio, announced Tuesday the signing of a contract with motorcycle daredevil Robert Evel Knievel of Butte for a motion picture based on his life story. Robert Hinkle, president of the production company, said it would be called Color Me Lucky. He said shooting would begin this summer with $500,000 picture with many scenes shot in Butte.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they're saying, watch out for that. That's a big deal. That's not how it'll go at all. That'll have a lot of incarnations.
But that's good for Butte, having that kind of
it's
coverage.
Exciting.
That's why they're jacked about it.
Yeah. August, and plus he just told Butte that was happening, so they would go, oh, okay, cool. August 6, 1969, in the Reno Gazette Journal, Evel Knievel drops plans for cycle stunt. He's dropped his plans to attempt a motorcycle jump over 13 cars at the Tahoe Carson Speedway. They said that apparently the factor mainly was his unpaid hospital bill.
Oh.
Because he didn't want to appear because local officials said the bill must be cleared up before he appears again. So basically,
they're going to serve him papers there.
They're going to take him to jail based on this, he can't do anything until he's done. So they said by mutual consent, he's not going to jump Sunday. I would like to have him come back later. Knievel told Reno Sports Writers he had hired a local lawyer and hopes to iron out the matter of the bill. But he can't pay $1,875, and he should just pay them my fucking money, and I'll do the jump, and we can clear this out, and that way I can come back to Nevada.
I'll jump to solve my fucking debts.
Oh shit! He's got a chauffeur they're talking about here. They talk about him traveling with a caravan of cars and trucks, sporting his equipment from place to place. A staff of 6 men accompany him. Among the 6 are Evel's personal chauffeur, Willie Big Time Bass of El Centro, California, who pilots Evel's beautiful 1950 Rolls-Royce around, and Ray Gunn of Moses Lake, who Knievel calls his super tuner. Just a guy who works on motorcycles. He said, he's the only man in the world that works on my cycles. He has my life in his hands. When asked if he would enter the Rolls-Royce in the demolition derby, he said, oh no, the king wouldn't like that. And that's what Ray Gunn said. The king is Knievel, by the way. Yeah. Not Elvis at this point. Yeah. He walks with his head held high, shakes hands with anyone who wants to meet him, and signs autographs left and right. 3 youngsters said, quote, gee, he really is nice, as he autographed copies of a record entitled Evil, Evil, Evil Knievel, released by A&M Records. Wow. That is fucking amazing. I wish I could find that. Evel's a family man that married his high school sweetheart after he graduated with honors from Butte High School. None of that's true. He didn't graduate. He certainly wasn't an honor student, and he wasn't high school sweethearts. He kidnapped her twice when he already dropped out and she was still in high school. That's crazy.
They just quote him on everything and just take his word.
People still do that to this day, for everybody. A friend of his who's known him for 15 years said he's the type of guy that hasn't let success go to his head. Bullshit. He said, but he has been the type of person that it's safe to stretch your neck an inch. He will stretch it a mile. Yeah, I would say so. September 20th, 1969 here. This is in Butte. A story of another crash here.
Uh-oh.
The deal with Triumph Motorcycles had ended badly, and he now rode a fat-assed American Eagle 750, the book says. The bike was the product of an old-line Italian manufacturer, Laverda, but had been imported recently to the United States under the American Eagle name.
Okay.
Knievel was the most recognizable motorcycle rider in the country, was the perfect choice as a spokesman. The bike, alas, has been built for endurance racing. It dominated the European endurance circuit, but isn't very good at jumping and flying. Yeah.
Right.
Not made for that.
It's on the road. It does fine.
They said Knievel couldn't handle the bike, or maybe the bike couldn't handle the jumps. Take away the 4 days outside the LA Sports Arena where he was jumping. Basically, there was a car show, and they hired him to jump cars outside, jump like a small amount of cars in the parking lot for a spectacle here. The first crash was back in Butte on September 20th, 1969, in Naranche Stadium, the old football field for Butte High School. He attempted to clear 16 Toyotas parked side by side in front of family and friends. He landed a little short, ran into a fence at the end of the field, and was thrown into it and broke an ankle. Dan Killoy, the longtime neighbor, visited him in the double wide a few days later. He was in a cast but getting ready for his jump at Tri-City Speedway in Richland, Washington, the next weekend.
Uh-huh.
So they said this would be 17 Subarus he's supposed to jump.
And he's in a cast at the moment.
His friend said, you're in a cast. How are you going to do this? Quote, I'll cut the cast off, do the jump, then go back to the hospital and get the cast put on again. No problem.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. That is fucking insanity.
Spectacular.
And that's kind of, that's how he did things for like the next year. He's cutting casts off, going, getting them put back on. Like it's fucking insane. It's his life at that point. So, he's going to try that again. He's going to do all of that shit. Oh, by the way, attention fun seekers.
Here we go.
This is from the, what is this? The Montana Standard newspaper. Attention fun seekers, something new has been added at the Midget Bar.
Anaconda.
The one and only Kenny, I thought that said Rustad, and his brother Carney, and our fabulous drummer Gary.
Gary's going to be around.
Gary will be.
For poor Gary.
There's Keith Moon. There's this, but Gary's there. That's different. We don't know about Gary.
He goes by
John
one
Bonham.
name, Gary.
He's so good he doesn't even need two names. And it said, "Best music going!" apostrophe.
Yeah.
Whoa! Try your luck out. Try your luck with our new registration. I don't even know what that means. That's why it was hard for me to read that. At the Midget Bar, Anaconda.
What does that mean?
You can get smorgasbord chicken to go every day at the Shanty Cafe.
Yeah.
And deep fried shrimp at Tinkerbell Drive-In also.
Perfect.
So there's that. Good for you.
Deep fried shrimp, the most cholesterol bombing son of a bitch.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're going to be hurting
Shrimp's
after that.
bad for you in the first place, and then you're going to deep fry it. Fucking hell.
It's not bad for you, but it is cholesterol-y. But
yeah.
It'll
It's
drive
heavy.
your cholesterol. You can't drink it. You can't eat it all the time. It's not like
Right.
every day.
Yeah.
Shouldn't eat shrimp every day. Is what I'm getting at.
No, don't do that.
Also, the Summer Wind, Bob's one-man band tonight at the Ponderosa. So you can go there and find out all that stuff. If you happen
What
to be
a place.
If you happen to be in Butte, Montana in 1969, stop by. It's there. So here is from, again, September 26, 1969, the Montana Standard. Rotarians hear Butte Daredevil. He's making an appearance at the Rotary Club to talk to them for some fuck.
Rotarians.
What the fuck? October 12th, 1969 here. Great Falls Tribune. They say, though he appears to live modestly in his native Butte with his wife and 3 children, the stunt expert travels in a Rolls Royce. He said, if you have a car, a man might as well own the best, he explains.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous thing. Yeah, we'd love... I got a car. I mean, what kind of piece of shit am I? I don't drive a Rolls.
Well, no, you're a loser. That's why. We're both losers that don't want to do this type of shit.
What a scumbag I am.
I like how they try. He appears to live modestly. That's because he's poor. That's why he appears to live modestly. He lives in a trailer and owes hospital bills. He's not a celebrity.
With a Rolls in the driveway.
Yeah, with a 20-year-old Rolls in the driveway. You know, come on. Knievel said he's grossed $212 from stunt jumping so far this year.
$212?
$212,000.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, he said $167 for the last 2 years combined, and now he's made $212 just this year, and the year's not even over yet. Wow. So far this year, and frequently uses the word sick to describe many organizations, including the American Motorcycle Association. He said the AMA is controlled by importers. I'm sick of seeing those greedy bastards in the grandstand watching racers get killed. The riders should get a flat 40% of the gate receipts instead of 5 to 6% they get now. Motorcycle racing won't amount to anything until something is done about the AMA.
He's not wrong.
No. He says that he classifies himself as a stunt artist, not a motorcycle racer. He said he did race cycles for 10 years and has, quote, about 200 trophies gathering dust. There weren't many races in which I didn't take the main event. We know that's complete horseshit.
Yeah.
He came in last most of the time. He just wasn't a good
no
motorcycle.
good at riding it.
Not a good, yeah. He says, while auto racers defy death, I stare death in the face. Mm-hmm. He is highly critical of what he terms freeloaders. He said the Great Falls Speedway, where he jumped September 12th, where 2,000 fans watched from outside the bleachers without paying, is one of the poorest run facilities in the state.
Some people got to see it for free.
This is a guy who freeloaded in a hospital for 22 fucking days getting medical care and everything else, and he's complaining about freeloaders.
How dare you see what I do without paying for it?
Dude, anybody that complains about freeloaders is usually... a fucking asshole who's doing shit and trying to scam anything they can. That's just the way it is. And it's just thing I've noticed over the years.
Sure.
It's always the most full of shit people who are the most upset at people getting something for free.
Yeah.
He's critical of the lack of protection for the performers at the Cascade County Fairgrounds. The whole town can stand outside the fairgrounds and look through a wire fence. Racers all have a problem with their friends and relatives who think they should get in for nothing. Those are called just comps. Yeah, you're going to charge your mom to come see you? Those who don't want to, what are you, an open mic comic? Those who don't want to.
Why are you doing bringer jumps?
Yeah, bringer jumps is real weird. Those who don't want to pay to see me risk my life, the hell with them.
Okay.
Yeah. He says his touring equipment includes 5 vehicles, including his Rolls-Royce trailer and a trailer to haul his cycles. The cycles have solid steel wheel spokes, 3 to 4 times stronger than chrome, he says, oversized handlebars, the biggest you've ever seen, and other modifications. The impact after a jump when Knievel and cycle touch grounds at speeds up to 100 miles an hour at a 30-degree angle is so great, he says, that sometimes I have to be taped to a cycle, which is also not true. He's got to be able to fly off of it so it doesn't crush him as it rolls.
There's a reason you can't put seatbelts on a motorcycle.
Yes.
Because if you stick with the bike, you're going to fucking die,
Your best bet is to fly through the fucking air magically. That's the best bet. So that's pretty fucking funny. They talk about all his injuries, like every fucking article talks about his injuries. He says, though, that it would be easy to become addicted to narcotics if you spend as much time in the hospitals as I do. He says for this reason, he shuns painkillers whenever possible.
Oh, really?
And criticizes racers who use pep pills, greenies, like ball players and shit. Yeah. He said this gives them a false sense of confidence. Yeah, that's why you drink whiskey before you go out there. What are you talking about?
A bottle of.
A fucking bottle of whiskey. Yeah. He's the biggest hypocrite of all time. It's so fucking funny.
Don't you dare do anything that gets your attention on the bike.
Oh, my God. That is fucking wild. Talking about his sky cycle and, all that shit here. He says that he keeps changing things too. Changes how much money he offered the tribes. He changes all that kind of things here. He said he believes Senator Barry Goldwater is the one blocking his jump of the canyon.
Really? The Arizona senator is the reason that you can't jump the canyon.
He said, I asked him for help a few years ago, and he didn't even have the decency to answer. That's because you don't even live in his state. You're not a constituent.
You're a Butte, Montana resident, and he's running for the presidency.
And you're a motorcycle dirtbag who just wants to jump over things.
He doesn't care about you.
No. So anyway, he says if they can get astronauts to the moon, they can get me across the Grand Canyon. He said the jump would bring more traffic to Butte than the AA basketball tournament, he said. I
just found out that they had one.
I don't know what the hell that is. What the fuck is that? So, so they talked about the mines and all this type of shit up there, too, because he's the Anaconda Company. He wants them to sponsor it and all this type of shit here. So, anyway, he's trying to figure it out. He said, I can't jump the world, but I'll settle for 21 cars. If I can jump 21 cars, it will be 3 times as far as any other man has gone. So, frequently he's asked about why he's trying to commit suicide. Why don't you take pills, they ask. He replies, why not make life interesting? He maintains he's not trying to kill himself, and he carries a fortune cookie slip in his wallet that says, you will live long and enjoy life.
Oh.
So he's doing all this based on a cookie,
a
message from a cookie. That's pretty fucking amazing.
Cookie told him.
They said a smash record hit by John Herring, Evel Knievel, decorates the walls of many bedrooms of Butte teenagers.
Oh.
Except at Knievel's house, as one of his children told them, we don't need the record, you're my daddy.
We've got him, yeah.
He's right here. So here's some reader opinions, which is fucking funny, from October 16th, 1969. It's right after this, Great Falls Tribune. And it says, Sunday story criticized to the editor. What a pity to waste Sunday feature space on Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
Our boys in Vietnam are risking their lives daily through no choice of their own. Making a career out of senseless life risking for the sake of the thrill and money surely does not rate the space devoted to it in Sunday's issue. If Evel chooses such a hazardous career, it's his right, but let's not contribute to it by publicizing it so flagrantly. Wow. Interesting here. Very nice. That is Helen McPhail that said that. October 12th, 1969. There's all these ads for him. See him jump these motorcycles. See him attempt the longest motorcycle jump in the world, over 17 Subaru automobiles. Wow, let's do that. October 20th, 1969, he clears 17 cars.
Jesus.
Clears it. 17 Subarus, and he did it.
And he landed it?
He landed it, didn't crash or anything.
Yeah.
They said the force of the landing ripped the exhaust pipe off the back of the cycle. It was not a soft landing as Evel wanted. He said, I came down nearly sideways.
That's
but
not good.
No, but he said he figured it out. He said, and for a moment, I nearly lost control. So he let up on the gas, and he felt like he could have probably, he was okay, and he did it. Yeah. So, I don't know. You can try, though. Are you a regular, Jimmy?
I'm irregular as fuck sometimes.
If you are, it says irregular due to lack of food bulk in your diet, try Kellogg's Bran Buds.
Yeah.
What the fuck is a Bran Bud? We've taken it out of flake form. You need it in compressed little. You need condensed little buds of this shit.
That sounds like grape nuts.
Yeah, that probably does sound like grape nuts. Grape nuts are just what, like kitty
Bran
litter?
Buds. Kitty litter.
That's what they are. They're just
ball bearings.
My grandfather used to eat grape nuts, or at least had them, and I remember trying a bowl when I was a little kid, and I was like, "Oh God, they're so hard! Why they
plant these and let them grow?"
They go everywhere in your mouth too. You can't keep them in one spot. They're all over the place.
Sand.
They were brutal, man.
Bad, yeah.
Brutal. November 6th, 1969. He's eyeing a record leap again. But he's back with, by the way, Molly B and Jerry Inman, and the Cherry Hill Four. So
that's his openers.
Somebody has said Evel Knievel goes with people who want to listen to Molly B sing. That's it.
Your core audience is Molly B.
It goes together, man. Sorry. He's going to skip that jump, though, because he's hurting, because he's all fucked up. And his wife reported that he didn't have the strength to hang on to the handlebars.
Okay.
So he couldn't do it. Okay, enter George Hamilton.
Here we go.
Okay. George fucking Hamilton. This is bonkers. If you don't know who George Hamilton is, I'm trying to think of what, very young. Because he was, when I was a kid, I was like, he's a guy who seems to be famous for being famous. I don't know who he is, because he was a big movie star in the 60s and 70s. Right? Love what?
Wasn't he on Love Boat?
I mean, maybe he might have been a guest star. He's one of those people that guest starred in a lot of things.
Yeah.
What was he?
He was in movies. When I was a kid, though, man. He was already
He
old.
was just that tan guy who was real old.
Yeah, overly tan guy, yeah.
What was he in when we, in the 90s, that it was he was in a movie.
A movie in the 90s? Fuck.
Was he the 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag? Was he in that one? Was he the father-in-law in that? With Diane Cannon being the fucking...
Excellent question. I mean, I can look at his fucking IMDb and just see what his fucking movies are. 2000s, he was in. He hosted a reality show called The Family. Nobody saw that.
I saw that, but he did something in the 90s where we were like, oh, that tan guy, yeah.
Fuck, man. Yeah, he was in 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag.
He's the father-in-law of that kid, future father-in-law. Okay.
And Meet Wally Sparks.
Wally Sparks he's in, too, the Rodney Dangerfield. That's right.
He's in a TV show called Jenny. He was
that was when they tried to give Jenny McCarthy a sitcom and went, oh, yeah, she's not funny at all.
Yeah, Casper Meets Wendy.
She's just a dummy who can't read fucking medical reports about how things work.
Rough Riders. He portrayed William Randolph Hearst. He was in Once Upon a Crime in 92. Doc Hollywood he was
Doc Hollywood!
That's right.
That's the thing I've seen 700,000 times that he was in. Okay, yes.
And I always mix him up with the guy that chomped his gum a lot in Police Academy, the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
I forget what else.
Exactly
He's been in a million things, but
this guy...
He was on Dynasty in the 80s.
He was a big fucking deal, before our time. He was a big deal. So they said at the time, Hamilton, this is from the book, Hamilton was 30 years old, same age as Evel, actually 3 months older. He was a bona fide movie star. Starring in 1952, when he was 13 years old, cast as a servant to Lionel Barrymore in Lone Star. I think that's Drew's grandfather, by the way.
Yeah.
A Western featuring Clark Gable and Ava Gardner.
Holy shit.
That's a big one. Yeah.
He's been in movies with Clark Gable. Do you know he's still alive?
When he was 13,
Jesus.
he was in movies with Clark Gable. Yeah. He's still alive? Wow. How does he not have skin cancer? Jesus Christ.
He's only 85.
Only? Wow. His skin must look... You could bounce a quarter off that shit right now. It's rock hard.
Well, he's bright fucking red now.
Oh, boy. He's had to stop.
Yeah.
He said he has already appeared at this point in time, appeared in 18 movies. He was a leading man, handsome and certainly tanned, as most stories pointed out, urbane and charming. He had made gossip headlines when he dated Linda Bird Johnson while her father was in the White House. He's probably best known for his roles as an Ivy League smooth talker in Where the Boys Are in 1960 and country music legend Hank Williams in Your Cheatin' Heart in 1964.
Wow.
I don't see him being Hank Williams in any stretch of anything.
That is fascinating.
So they said he was involved in assorted projects and always looking for more. His immediate job was a role in The Survivors with Lana Turner, the first miniseries that followed a story from beginning to end on network television. That's when they experimented with that. The producers wanted him to do some stunt that seemed a bit perilous to him. He asked for a stuntman, and the producer said, well, hire a stuntman if you want. I don't fucking care. We're not doing it for you. So he tried to hire Evel Knievel because he'd heard about him.
Genius.
Yeah. George said, quote, his name was bouncing around with some people I knew. They said there was this guy, Evel Knievel, wind him up and he crashes. So that's what they're looking for. How could you forget a name like that? He sounded perfect. I had my secretary track him down. Okay. The phone dialogue went a little something like this. Question, can you do this stunt? You'll have to do it in the next week or two. Answer, I can do anything. I'm Evel Knievel. Jesus Christ.
I can do anything. I'm Evel Knievel.
I'm Evel Knievel. Then he didn't show up. Never showed
really?
up. Nope. He had returned to Los Angeles to appear at the 9th annual Custom Car, Motorcycle, and Dune Buggy Show that we all attend every year, obviously, at the Los Angeles Sports Arena. He appeared outside to do the jumping of the cars. Remember I told you that? Yeah. This was his latest return to action. He still hadn't fully recovered from the staph infection. He was still on crutches from his broken hip. He had to be helped onto his motorcycle.
As he's weeping, sores. God, Jesus.
As the pus drips from his open fucking wounds.
Gross.
Oh, my God. So that is fucking wild. They said there was some overstatement of his injuries, but that's, normal. Yeah. He was certainly busted up. The Times noted, the Los Angeles Times, that he might have more metal parts inside of himself than his motorcycle. Hamilton soon just forgot about Evel Knievel because, that happened. He didn't show up. He hired somebody else.
Yeah.
A couple of months passed. Then he got a phone call from a guy named Scotty, who is a guard at the front gate at Universal Studios. Okay. George Hamilton is in his office at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And Scotty said, hey, Mr. Knievel would like to see you. Yeah. He's 3 months late for his gig.
The movie's wrapped, man.
It's long gone. So Hamilton said, well, fuck it, send him up. I want to meet this crazy fuck, right?
Sure.
So the Scotty said, there's a problem. The problem is he arrived at the gate with 2 other guys in the fucking big rig truck that he drives everywhere.
Yeah.
Which doesn't fit in a fucking parking lot, obviously, of a movie studio. So they said his name and the world ramp-to-ramp record is on the side and his I'm going to jump the Grand Canyon's written on the side, all this shit.
Yeah.
So they said the rig will take up too much room inside the movie lot. So Hamilton said, well, tell him to park outside and walk it through the gate. What the fuck are we doing here? So Scotty said, well, Knievel, he can't walk is the problem.
No?
No. So the 2 men parked the truck outside and carried Evel inside, his people. And that's how they met. And they said,
what does he want?
They said the Daredevil was delivered to his office like an animated side of beef. They carried him in and put him in a chair. So he's saying that his career was going great. People wanted to see what he did. He had a number of jumps lined up. And George Hamilton said, looks like the last one didn't work out too well, huh?
Yeah.
And Hamilton said he was one of the slickest, maybe the slickest character I've ever met.
Yeah.
Think about who's saying that.
An actor.
A Hollywood actor with fucking grease in his hair and a tan that you wouldn't, like a literally unfathomable tan, is saying agents, producers, bullshit actors, actresses, none of them. He's the slickest of all.
A guy who dated LBJ's
president's daughter while he was fucking like ramping up a war. Yeah. He said he was a con man, but it was all petty con. Do you know what I mean? He was one of those guys who would bet you in a bar that he had your name tattooed on his cock. Then he'd whip it out and he'd have the words your and name tattooed so he could win bar bets. That kind of guy.
George Hamilton called it a cock?
A cock, yes. Cock. And this book was written when George Hamilton was in his 70s. So
yeah,
he said cock.
Wow.
He said Hamilton signed him up to do some stunt in a week. Knievel said he was going in for surgery to remove 11.5 pounds of metal, but would be back and ready for the job.
I'll be right back.
Hamilton was dubious. 11.5 pounds of metal sounded like a lot of metal to him.
That's a lot, yeah.
So on the day, the Daredevil called from the hospital in Burbank. Hamilton talked to him for a moment, then heard a thud and the line went dead.
Uh-oh.
When Hamilton finally got to the room, got through to the room again, a nurse answered. She said Knievel had passed out. That's why the phone went dead. He passed out. They said that this was another paragraph in an interesting story. Hamilton had been thinking about a movie that somehow involved this guy. He thought he was just the most interesting fucking weird guy he's ever met.
Sure is.
He said his first thought was something about a whacked out stuntman, but the more he saw Knievel in action, he said he passed out. What, this guy's fucking nuts. The more he became convinced that Knievel himself was the movie. He's not a character in a movie. He's the movie.
Do it about him. Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. People need to see this. He said motorcycles, America, insanity. He loved the whole thing. He said it's all part of this. He said after a little negotiation, he made a deal with Knievel, $25,000 for the rights to his life story.
Great deal.
25 grand, not bad, but and for Evel, that's a
huge.
lifeline.
Yeah.
He needs that fucking money. I mean, that's going to do a lot for him. Hamilton said, I was happy when I got the rights. Then I said to myself, what the hell am I going to do with this?
This is useless.
What am I doing? So they said the answer came from Joe Solomon, a grind-em-out executive producer of B movies, many of them with motorcycle themes. See, he had made Hell's Angels on Wheels 2 years earlier, which starring Jack Nicholson, which didn't do shit. And then in '69, Jack Nicholson was in Easy Rider, which was a fucking monstrous, huge hit that now everybody was trying to.
Jack Nicholson was in Easy Rider?
Wasn't he in Easy Rider? Wasn't it him and
that
Dennis
was Peter Fonda.
And Jack Nicholson, he's in it.
Is he in it too?
I'm pretty sure he's in it, right?
I don't know.
Wait, no, it's Dennis Hopper. No, it's he's in it, not one of the stars, but he's in it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Doesn't he play? Doesn't he? They pick him up for a while and bring him somewhere.
I could see it. Yeah, he's definitely in it. Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson.
I can see him on sitting there with them. He's not a motorcycle guy.
James,
it's why.
Mac Mashurian's in it.
I don't know who that is. Okay, I was like, damn, I missed that one.
Yeah.
So this guy was like, fuck, man, I want my own Easy Rider. So Hamilton said, I don't know if I can make you Easy Rider, but I can give you Evel Knievel in a pretty weird movie here.
Terrible rider, yeah.
He said, I want to make a movie about this guy that shows the insanity of America. Something about what our values are.
Okay.
This guy said, great, put a bunch of motorcycles in it. You make whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Just make it a motorcycle movie.
Okay.
Come in on budget, on time, motorcycles. I'm a happy guy. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, let's do this. I'm going to do it, Hamilton says. So then there's an article in the Reno Gazette-Journal. Motion picture might feature Evel Knievel.
Might, yeah.
They talk about it. He's known for his disastrous jumps and now blah, 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 blah. December 14th, 1969. He's still talking about the Grand Canyon. Still.
He's got to do it. Otherwise, his life is useless.
The Boston Globe.
Uh-huh.
And he's still fucking this. He said,
shut up about it.
I'm afraid I'm going to get killed in a car. He's afraid of cars, but not motorcycles. He said, if I go, I want to go the way I want to go, splatting against the side of the Grand Canyon, but not getting hit by a drunk on the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. So, by the way, he's calling his motorcycle at this point the Alabaster Bomb. That's what he's calling the Sky Cycle right now in this newspaper article for some reason. And then finally, in the newspaper, December 31st, 1969, George Hamilton and motorcycle racer Evel Knievel will produce a movie based on Knievel's exploits with Hamilton starring. So now it's official, it's public and everything like that.
It's happening, yep.
The screenplay had to be written a couple of times.
Yeah.
First attempt was a guy named Alan Kelleu, who was a writer, and this is what the studio guy found. He's an Englishman who's a middle-aged guy who drives a period Bentley around Hollywood.
Okay.
Not the guy for like a new, age, new kind of motorcycle, edgy. That's not the guy you want. Some English fart fucking driving around a Bentley, an old fucking Bentley around Hollywood.
A dated one that's specific, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So they did it. He wrote a thing, and George Hamilton said it was fucking terrible, nothing he wanted. It was a straight-laced, straight-ahead portrayal of Knievel. He said it was kind of a World War II movie brought up to date. Man in combat with death every day. He's like, that's not what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for to capture the weirdness of what this whole weird shit is, not some weird, strange hero story.
I need it to almost be a documentary about this one-man circus.
I need him to be an ambiguous character. I need him to, is he a hero? Is he a heel? What is this fucking guy?
Is he a charlatan? I don't know.
Yeah. So this guy said, let me get a guy to do a rewrite. So he said, no characters will be changed, no expenses added, just, it'll be nothing to add to the finances, just let me do it. So this guy said, will there be motorcycles? And he said, same thing. And he goes, great, don't care, motorcycles.
Do it.
So he interviewed, George Lucas was interviewed for this.
Really?
To write this. Yeah, he was a writer at the time, an up-and-comer. Paul Schrader, Steven Spielberg.
Wow.
Bunch of people here. None of them got it, though. He said none of them. And there's John Milius, and that's the writer that got it, basically. Mm-hmm. He said it was a peculiar American insanity, is the way he put it. It's crazy man, crazy country, crazy everything. You know what I mean? So Hamilton told the guy, tell it back to me. Tell me what you think it is. Right. So the guy described the story, the jumps, the injuries. He described the canyon jump. He described the probable ending. He said the guy splatters on the other side. That's what America really wants to see. They want to see him splatter on the other side. Yeah, they don't give a fuck about this guy.
Right.
And that's what George Hamilton said. Perfect. Evel Knievel wasn't selling success. He was selling failure.
Right.
But spectacular failure.
And the opportunity to see the biggest failure you've ever seen.
Totally. So he said that's what America loved, the danger of it all. That's what they were into. That's the core of what makes Evel Knievel interesting. Yeah. So he set up the screenwriter in a house. This is funny. In the house with white walls and Strauss waltzes, the Cuban cigars and the sunbathing women. Hamilton had women brought in. He put him up in this house and had a bunch of women brought in, but told him, this is great. Hamilton said, quote, I knew a guy. I don't know where he got these women. I made one rule. Milius doesn't get to touch one of them till he's finished.
Oh.
He had a bunch of women brought in as motivation for this screenwriter. You can fuck these girls when you're done, but finish the screenplay. You got to. That'll get you writing fast if you're horny.
Fuck yeah.
So he said he loved the arrangement. He read the screenplay. And he said, I felt like I had the jellyfish in my hand, but Milius gave it the sting. He said he was proud of the script. He sent the script to Evel Knievel and waited. And Evel Knievel called him, and he said he was shocked when Knievel called and started yelling at him.
He hates it.
The script was terrible. The daredevil demanded that Hamilton come to the Hollywood Land Motel. Okay. By the way, this is... He walks in, he walks in, and Hamilton said, I don't think Evel read very much of it, if at all. Someone had read the script for him and told him and said that it had bad things about his sister. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I think it might have been the stuff about kidnapping his wife.
Okay.
Anyway, quote, he pulled the gun. He pulled a gun out, put it to George Hamilton's head, told him to sit down and read him the fucking script right now, and kept the gun to his head while he read him the script.
I hate it.
I hate it. Click, read it. That's insane. That's insane. Who does that?
Wow.
So he said, and I never read better, never talked faster. I explained the scenes to him. I finally convinced him that it was all right. He was making suggestions to me by the end. So by the end, he had uncocked his fucking .38 and put it down, thankfully.
I'm going to help you rewrite it right now.
God, he said the parts that Hamilton thought would bother him were never mentioned by him.
Mm-hmm.
He said Milius had drawn him as a self-absorbed, egotistical character, silly in a lot of ways, crafty and crazy, but not a pleasant guy by any means.
Can't imagine, yeah.
He said that's what should have set Knievel off, but Hamilton thought the subject of the movie never really understood what the movie was about. Knievel was worried about small deviances from facts. He said, Hamilton said, quote, people are so close to something sometimes that they can't see. The movie I did about Hank Williams was like that. He was this tragic character, drank himself to death at the age of 29. He was pushed there first by his mother, who brought him into the bars to sing when he was 13 years old, then kept him there by his wife, who did the exact same thing. The women were the villains. His mother was dead when we did the movie, but his wife was alive and signed off on everything. She never saw what the story was. He said, I don't think Evel did either. He said the two lines Hamilton liked best in the script were simple. They captured the wonder of Knievel's performance to date and the surprise relief at every finish. The movie would use Linda Evans' footage of the Caesars crash. Got to have that in there.
Yeah.
After the crash, Knievel would lie on the pavement with his injuries, all fucked up in a heap. Yeah. But they'd get a close-up and he would blink and smile. I'm alive, he would say. If he's alive, he wins. That's how it works for him. So he said it was his triumph he performed every time. He said that was the truth. So that's what he was going for. He needs a new motorcycle.
Sure.
In December of 1970, he's going to switch to a Harley-Davidson XR 750.
Okay.
That's the one he's really known for jumping, is that bike. That's his main bike. Yeah. He would use that in association with Harley-Davidson up until 1977. Mm-hmm. They said that the odd part of Knievel's red, white, and blue motorcycle career, the words America and American mentioned virtually every time he spoke in public, was that he never performed on an American motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah, from his first jump at Moses Lake on a Honda through the jumps on Nortons and Triumphs in the Italian Laverda 750 under the name American Eagle, he took whatever small deal was available to get a free motorcycle. That's all he could do. He always went for price over performance. He said he risked his life on whatever discount equipment he could find. He said the logical motorcycle for him would have always been a Harley, made in America and strong.
But now it's made by AMF. That's a bad Harley. That's the worst Harley.
Those are the ones where they said you'd have to buy one for parts, right? That was that.
Yeah, it's a bad bike.
Because I remember when I was a little kid in the 80s, that was the cliche of Harleys.
Shit.
Yeah, they were known for 20 years as a piece of shit. So they said Harley-Davidson was the star-spangled American racing representative on the world stage. Knievel, alas, always made the company executives nervous.
Yeah.
He said Harley-Davidson was the most conservative company you can find. That is a guy who was the advertising manager and promotions director for Harley-Davidson in the 70s.
Really?
He said extremely image conscious. I said to my boss one day, I wouldn't mind buying one of those Datsun Z sports cars. And he looked at me and said, well, you'll have to pay for it in yen.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
God damn.
He said you couldn't wear a beard or long hair if you worked for Harley back then. It was like playing center field for the Yankees or something.
What the fuck?
You'd be fired in a moment. The word the company hated most was hog. It hated that entire image of the motorcycle gangs, fought against it.
Really?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Yep. Didn't like it at all. That everything that's made them big and famous and everything that all these bikers worship and love and put fucking stickers on everything of.
Yeah.
It's all what they hated, not what they wanted.
And Harley hated the hog name, and now they use their Harley ownership group. That's what it's called. It's a club called Hog.
Yep, they didn't like it back then. They used to fight if anybody would use that shit. They would sue them if they used the name Hog. They would sue them back then and everything. Now it's totally different. Now they sue them because it's like, hey, that's our thing.
That's our brand. Yeah.
So he said, it hated the entire image of motorcycle gangs, fought against it. They said Knievel was small and not very pleasant-looking potatoes to Harley in the past. He was too noisy, too wacky. Harley spent its promotional budget on the racing team. That was the image the company wanted. That number one Harley logo represented the success of the racing team. Knievel was a circus act. He'd become a motorcycle. He's the most famous motorcycle rider in America at this point, though. So they're like, what do we want to do here? Are you trying to spread your shit or not?
Yeah.
So they said the company at the same time was struggling. The Honda campaign about meeting the nicest people on a Honda had been devastating. It's true, too. I was reading in the Hunter Thompson Hells Angels book, he talks about how in 5 years, Harley went from like 98% market share of motorcycles to like 30% market share.
Wow.
In 5 years. He goes, imagine GM at the time doing that. It would be, the sky would be falling. He goes, that's how much Honda just took the fuck over the motorcycle market. Because it was like college kids and people like that were buying them. Yeah. So he said attention had turned to those 150cc bikes, an entirely different look from Harley. Sales were down. Even the racing results were down. Harley was struggling on the track, which is why it built the new XR 750. Enter Knievel. He sent word through racers he knew that he would love to ride the XR 750. He was available now. His deal with American Eagle had finished, as the importers of the Lavertas from Italy had gone broke. The business was being liquidated. Harley people were interested, at least some of the Harley people. The marketing guy said, I thought it was a great idea. Our dealers were screaming for help. They wanted us to do something to give the brand publicity. They were getting killed by Honda. They loved the idea of putting some Evel Knievel posters on their wall. Make it look fun and cool.
Right, yeah.
Make the young people like it. So the person who had to be convinced was John Davidson, the president of Harley Davidson, a no-nonsense character who was the gatekeeper of the company image.
Yeah.
So they said they tried to convince him, including Vice President Willie G. Davidson, John's brother. They all argued for Knievel, the marketing people, this guy, the vice president. Finally, the guy said, fine, whatever.
Do what you want. I don't care.
But with one clause.
What is it?
One clause in this contract. There was a long paragraph, that detailed all the things Knievel couldn't do. Okay, if he went to jail, if there was a public scandal, an arrest for drunkenness, drugs, anything, the contract was finished. He couldn't spit on the street. There were a lot of ways out of the deal for the company.
Okay.
So they said he got a chunk of money, but more importantly, he got that motorcycle, and they would like refine it for him too. Like they said, basically, tell us exactly how you want us to make it for you, and we'll do it. Yeah, that's nice. So he was linked into the dealer network and would have local Harley mechanics at most of his events that they would come to help him.
Sure.
So he would have parts, service, backup motorcycles at a moment's notice. He would have things he never had. They said also he would have a version of safety. The most amazing result of the deal, the every other jump crashes would stop because the bike's better.
Okay.
And he said it was a revelation, the bike. It was faster than any motorcycle he ever rode. After some modifications, it was also lighter than any motorcycle he ever rode, too.
Right. Yeah.
They said factory riders on the bike dominated all levels of racing after 72, and Knievel found he could gauge his speed better, was not surprised when he landed that he could survive, and he said, fuck, if I was doing this all along, I'd be in much better shape, and my legs wouldn't be broken 40 fucking times.
I wouldn't be having 11 and a half pounds of metal pulled out of me.
No, right? Here is from January 4th, 1970. Evel Knievel got the coveted 1-1 license plate issued by Silver Bow County Treasurer Emmett Jones.
1-1? What does that mean?
That's his license plate number.
Oh, he's one of one.
One of one, yeah.
Yeah.
Knievel's wife was the first person in line at 5 a.m. Friday, the first day the new plates were issued. Knievel said he would mount the plates on his new Rolls-Royce limousine to publicize Montana during his tours around the country.
Okay.
That's what it is here. Publicize fucking Montana. So he's going to do the Cow Palace they're talking about in San Francisco.
Sure.
1970, and we'll end it with this. This is what I was waiting for to end this on here. This is crazy. Okay. Hells Angels enter the picture.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Okay.
He's on a Harley.
This is the Cow Palace. Well, also, he says he doesn't want to be associated with them. That's why he wears the white leathers and all that kind of thing.
Sure.
So in the newspapers, he's constantly saying, I don't want to be associated with those bums. And I don't want to. So after a while, they're like, hey, fuckhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? That's bullshit. So the Hells Angels were treated to, this is from the newspaper, were treated to a bit of rough and ready justice Friday night when hundreds of persons at the Cow Palace took on 12 of the motorcycle club members for a free-for-all following a motorcycle stunt show by Evel Knievel.
Oh, my God, there was a brawl?
Yeah, they attacked Evel Knievel, and they got the living shit beaten out of them, all these Hells Angels. They ended up in the hospital. They almost got killed, these guys.
Surprise, surprise, so, Evil's fans are fucking lunatics.
the greatest fucking thing, following the junk, I'll tell it from the book. I think we have that in here. So what ended up happening is he brought on a new bodyguard guy.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is right after Altamont.
Okay.
The Hell's Angels killed a guy in the crowd while the Rolling Stones were playing.
Right.
So they said, I'll read from the book. The announcer for the show had been drinking all night, is what Gene Sullivan said.
Fantastic.
When Evel came to do his jump, the announcer said something he shouldn't have. He announced the canyon jump, then said, if Evel makes this jump, he'll set the Hells Angels back 100 years. Or he'll set back the Hells Angels 100 years. I don't know what that even means.
Why would he say that?
So, Sullivan was new to the Knievel operation. He was a big guy, fresh out of the Navy, where he'd been the heavyweight boxing champion for the 7th Fleet.
Okay.
This guy, basically, his father was the sports columnist for the San Francisco Examiner. So in the run-up to the jump, his father went to interview Evel Knievel, and this guy went along to listen, his son. Knievel was going into overdrive, talking about all his bullshit and everything like that. And this guy liked him, the son, the Navy boxing champion. He told Knievel he liked the message and offered his services. He said maybe Knievel needed a bodyguard, and an expensive bodyguard. He said $200 a week to live. I'd be happy with that. Don't care. I'm a big guy. I'll keep people away from you. You know, I'm a boxing champ. Knievel said, I'll think about it. That's fine. But Sullivan went to the Cow Palace, and he went to watch Knievel jump. It's the first time he ever saw him jump. And Sullivan said it was one of those providential things. Now, Knievel and the Hells Angels, this is from the book, never had good thoughts about each other. Knievel always took great pains to say he dressed in white leather, not black, because he didn't want to be associated with them or anything like that. And the Angels were pissy about that.
Yeah.
So they also had been hounded and, beaten up in the newspapers and on television about the Altamont disaster, because they're still talking about that now. It's fucking 55 years ago. So anyway, when the announcer said what he said, there was a history. So when Knievel came flying up the ramp for his jump, a Hell's Angel came down from the stands and threw something at him.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
And they said they thought it was a wrench or a pair of pliers, something of that. So not like a cup.
Something hefty,
a metal chunk. So they said the wrench or pliers or whatever missed Knievel. But this is the fucked up part. He knew it was happening, but he did the jump knowing it. They said he landed perfectly, cleared the 11 cars, stopped himself in a very short landing area, then did a U-turn.
Oh.
He's fucking pissed. That's one thing about Evel is he will fucking fight you. He does not care. Obviously, bodily harm does not scare him. So this is the wrong guy to fight. It really is. You don't fight a guy who doesn't give a shit about his body. No, he doesn't care. The hospital? Great. Take me there. I don't fucking care. So he came back, did a U-turn, and came back to the offending Hells Angels, whom he had spotted from the corner of his eye as he saw the guy throw shit, which is wild. So he jumped from his still moving motorcycle.
Ghost rode the whip.
Pushed this guy against a concrete wall and started punching the fuck out of him.
Wow.
Because the guy didn't expect it. Because he said he's just driving by and all of a sudden, boom, he springs at him off the motorcycle, tackles him against the wall, and he's beating the shit out of him.
Left the bike going,
Yeah, let the bike go. Didn't give a shit about that. So this is what happened. So then 4 or 5 Hells Angels came to their defense, as we know, the one on all and all on one shit there.
Yeah.
So Sullivan, who's the boxing guy, was watching this whole mess develop, and he goes, "Wow, if I ever want to get hired, this is the way to do it."
This is it. Here comes my interview.
He jumps in and just starts fucking bashing Hell's Angels. Like, just starts exploding their fucking heads. Because, I mean, when there's 10 of them, fine. And when they're, somebody who doesn't know how to fight, fine. But if you have a heavyweight naval boxing champion and they don't have weapons, he's going to destroy these guys. Otherwise, they're just drunks. That's all they are. So he's beating them, and so it's Evel and this guy versus like more Hells Angels now. More are coming. So then people in the crowd started going, "Oh, fuck that shit." They started beating the shit out of the Hells Angels too.
My God.
So by the end of it, they're all in the hospital beaten to pulps because hundreds of people have stomped them to shit, which is well deserved because they've done that plenty of times too. And I think they
done
knew
that. They've killed people like that.
Yeah, ask Hunter Thompson. Well, not now because he's dead, but read about what Hunter Thompson happened to him. So anyway, after that, he said Knievel invited this guy back to his trailer for some wild turkey and said, "You want a fucking job?"
Yeah.
I sure do. He goes, "You got it, man. That was great. Thanks."
Done.
He said, "You start now." And the worry was that the Hells Angels will be looking for them for retribution because this happened.
I need you around forever.
Please just hang out with me. So Knievel went to Sacramento to go to a friend's house so he could hide for the night, basically, because he thought they were going to be looking for him.
Sure.
So he's got this guy, the Sullivan and the Ray Gunn guy are left with this big trailer at a motel that advertises that here's Evel Knievel.
Oh, God damn it.
So they're like, shit, those letters aren't getting any smaller. They're huge on the side. Why'd we do that? So they shared a room, and they were waiting for the Hells Angels, and they were so paranoid that the Sullivan, the boxer guy, went to get food, came back, and the other guy jumped up from bed and pointed a gun at him. He was ready to shoot him.
Thinking he was the Hells Angel.
Anyway, the Angels never came.
Wow.
They never showed up. I think they got enough.
They got an ass full of it.
They got an ass kicking full of it.
Yeah.
So they were done. So, and that is that. And that is where we will leave the story today.
What a story. He's a hero.
With him beating the shit out of her, him and half of a spectator group beating the shit out of a group of Hells Angels. Which, I mean, obviously, if he's the star, did you expect these people to be like, yes, beat up our hero? It's probably a bad move.
Don't throw a wrench at Luca in L.A. You're going to get that whole stadium beating the fuck out of you.
They're going to fucking pummel your ass for that shit, yeah.
Or any star, for that matter, of any sporting event. You're going to get it.
If we went out on stage at a show and somebody threw a fucking wrench at us and started attacking us, we'd have a lot of people helping us probably, because that's uncalled for.
I hope it's in Atlanta, and we have that lady that's willing to kick people in the chest.
That was not for us, though. That was just because she was drunk. That was a different thing completely.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So there you go. That is Evel Knievel, part 3. And we're building up his fame, and that's a good point to leave it at, because from here it's kind of really going to launch. Once he gets the Harley and all that kind of shit, he's going to be on Wide World of Sports, and the toys are going to come out, and the movies are going to come out, and everything like that. We'll talk about that, and I'm going to show you next week, too. We'll have some footage of him on talk shows, just so you can get kind of his whole attitude and how he is.
How he behaves.
It's interesting. I'll show you that Dick Cavett show appearance, and then I'll show you a couple others, too, that are real fucking interesting.
I can't believe Dick Cavett's still alive. And
that's wild.
Criminally underfollowed on every form of social media, and he's active. He tells stories. He's fucking great.
Nobody knows who he is anymore now. That's the problem.
No, it's too bad.
No one under 30 knows who the fuck Dick Cavett is.
I want to be his best friend.
Right? He's so interesting. He's got a lot of interesting shit.
Fascinating man.
Like when I was a kid, I'd hear his name, but I didn't know who the fuck he was. He was some guy who had a talk show before I was born. I don't know.
He's one of the guys that gets tossed by a shrimp hand in Beetlejuice, for Christ's sake, and nobody knows that.
Nothing. I had no idea. I didn't know that at all.
I
knew
no
who
idea.
the other people were. I knew who Otho was more than that guy. I didn't know. Then once YouTube came out, I started seeing like Dick Cavett show shit, and I was like, oh, he had a great talk show. That was fucking awesome. He'd do in-depth conversations. He was cool.
And a close personal relationship with Muhammad Ali, and he's a fucking fascinating human being. I love him. I love him so much.
Great interview with Hitchcock that I saw. It's really awesome on there. Hitchcock, also Jimi Hendrix. There's a cool one.
Yeah.
When he has Hendrix on there. It's so different.
He would ask great questions, and then people would be like mad at him and treat him like a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, because back then you were on there to promote your thing.
Yeah.
So tell us why this movie's great and everyone should see it. Tell us why everything's great rather than, so why'd you do that? That was interesting, huh? He was like a mixed.
Like an asshole.
It was like a mix between Letterman and Barbara Walters, he was.
Right.
It was like a mixture because he wasn't a comedian and didn't claim to be and wasn't trying to be funny. So he was more of a straight man interviewer. Yeah, it was wild. So
I love him.
We will pick back up next week with Evel getting more famous and all that kind of shit. Can't wait for that. I love this fucking story. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So if you love it too, tell everyone about it. Get on whatever app you are listening on. Please give us 5 stars and tell the world about it. Post on social media. It helps so much. I don't know why. The reviews help. It really, really helps. So thank you, everyone that does that. And please do that if you haven't done that. Yeah. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Tickets for live shows. All of the merchandise is there. Next live shows for Small Town Murder are in May. They are in St. Louis and Chicago. St. Louis is just about sold out, but Chicago, you can still get in there and get your tickets for the rest of the year, too.
It's a big theater.
We found out Portland's sold out in November. Grand Rapids is, I think, sold out. Madison. So they're all selling out. So get your tickets right now. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Do that. Also follow on social media at Crime and Sports. And you definitely want Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Patreon.com/CrimeInSports is where you get all of the bonus materials. Anybody $5 a month or above, you are going to get, first of all, immediately upon subscription, hundreds of bonus episodes you've never heard before. So like a whole other show worth of bonus episodes.
Wild, yeah.
And then on top of that, you get new ones every other week.
Sure.
Can't beat that. One crime in sports, one small town murder, and you get them all, baby.
All of it.
This week for crime in sports, we are going to talk about I think it was 2012, Miami Dolphins bullying scandal.
What a story.
They were saying an offensive lineman was getting bullied, and it was Richie Incognito. One of the Pouncey brothers was involved in that, too.
Yeah.
He skates on that shit because everyone only remembers Incognito.
Because Incognito's such a piece of shit.
He's a dick, and he wants to be a dick.
Boy.
The guy, Jonathan Martin, the bullying subject at the time, he has now come out talking about it a lot. So we'll talk all about that.
Because it died down, and he needs
clean it up.
To talk about it, because that's all we know him for.
Yeah, he got arrested because of it, too.
Really?
We'll talk about it. This has been going on for the whole 10 years.
It's still going.
Still kind of a thing that's going on. So we'll talk all about that and more. That's Shut Up and Give Me More. Oh, that's not. No, that's our website.
No,
Patreon.com/CrimeAndSports is where you get all that shit. And what else do you get? A shout out.
You bet.
Or Jimmie will, as he's about to do, mispronounce your name good here. So, Jimmie, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever throw pliers at us while we were driving a motorcycle 80 miles an hour. Hit me with them right fucking now.
This week's executive producer, Angela Corey. Wow, thank you so much. You're an angel. That was very, very kind of you.
You are
she,
wonderful, honestly.
Lost her job and quit Patreon because of it. And then she came back to donate a giant amount of money that she didn't have to do.
Thank you
Angela,
so much,
that's very
too.
kind. Thank you.
Very
Gary
kind.
Howard also. Thank you so much. He's got a grandson that's getting bigger all the time. Other producers this week,
brother.
Peyton Meadows. Happy Hour is in Lafitte, Louisiana. Thank you, Happy Hour. Pleasure to see you. Janice Hill, Sherry Lynn Henderson, Audrey Allen.
Every week with Janice Hill. We never say Thank you,
so
Janice
nice.
Hill. I hear your name every week. Thank you.
Constant. Yeah,
You fucking rock.
So nice.
Jordan Bennett and Peyton Meadows. Thank you. Liz Vasco.
So
They're
nice.
regulars. Thank you, guys.
You do too much and you don't have to. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sherry Lynn Henderson, Audrey Allen, Ricky Hargett, Taylor Marcelino, Goldino with no last name, Joshua
That sounds
Gary
like
Alley
a
with
magician.
no last name.
The Great Goldino.
The Great Goldino. Yes, he makes pizzas. Jace Chancellor, Kaylin, is that Kaylin? It is Kaylin Saros, Chris Bourne, that is Jason's brother, right? Abel Martinez, right? Is it Jason Bourne? Yeah. Sandals with no last name.
Beats
Rebecca
the shit out of
Brookshire.
me.
You didn't watch those movies? Me
Nah,
neither.
I know. I don't like action shit. Don't care.
I understand pop culture references. Ashley Young, Holly Stansberry, Dakota Jenkins, Stephanie Deese, Abby Bowden, maybe, Cameron Kraft, Lisa Stelter, yes, Hayden Smith, Samantha with no last name, Sam O'Connor, Elizabeth Jacobs, April C., Sam Coleman, Derek Schwab, Tiffany West, Bob Soa, Jody Moore, Alexandra LeClaire, Carrie Fowler, James Wilkinson, Naomi with no last name, Ash Egan Burke, Daniel Hardesty, Allison Rainford, Justin Johnson, Shane McDowell, Sludge Monkey, gross, Amanda Smith.
You nasty fuck.
A sludge monkey sounds like a poop dick. That's vile.
Yeah, it does.
Anita Falk, Joe Bryant, Kathleen Schmidt, Alyssa Wilson, Lola Brown, Michelle Wood, Jessica Jones, Robin Noguchi, Elliot Worm, Zach Duffy, Matt Harris, Doug Rose, Bruce with no last name, Waki. Oh, that's going to be a correct autocorrect.
An autocorrect on your end.
Agbenya? Yeah, Wake is not the first name. It's something else. Agbenya, though, is your last name. Laura Joe, Tiffany Osborne, Laura with no last name. Montromancer. Bradley Germain, maybe German, maybe German. We don't know. Sophie Hull, Jenica Angus. She signed up twice. Thank you, Jenica.
Wow. Thank you.
Tommy with no last name. Danielle with no last name. Whiskey with no last name. Cassandra Hegabo, Bad News. James Mahaffey, Christina Brennan, Madison Parker, Missy Johnson, Nancy with no last name, Luis Block, Lois. Nope, it's Luis. Cassie Wernley, Staff Staff Mago. I don't know what you want me to say. Rebecca Reifschneider Gochi. I think.
Right.
Julie Sanchez, sure. Reba Talbot, Tara with no last name, Laura Berg, Kaya Stroh like the beer, Kachina Cameron Jacobson. She's got Stroh's money. Teresa, not a stat.
Old-timey beer money.
Not a lot of money there. It's like $1.90 for like a 12-pack.
Next thing you know, fall staff person's going to be here bringing that old money.
Maddie Osborne, Olivia Bernal, Nicola Sundin, Inhabit Jewelry, Christine M., Lindsay Straighton, Kate Cheatwood, Virginia Babu, Wendy Friedland, Rachel, that's Rachel Roach. Perhaps Roachy. Feeling Funny. Erica S. Gretchen Hagenbooch. Crystal Howell. Corey Frankenhauser. Trey DeWitt. Brittany McNatt. Jacqueline McGinnis Green. Lynn and Carolina Hammers. Joey Jenkins. Dave and Jade Beauharnois. What the fuck? Beauharnois.
You broke him.
I don't know.
You broke Jimmie with this last name.
Tucker Basosa. Tyler Harrison, Jesse Robbins, Mitchie Baggs, Mike Holland, James Fleming, Jimmie is adorable, Ken Morris, I'm disgusting, Jeremy Reagan, Maria Noel, Peter Cerny, Doc with no last name, Wyatt Gray. How about that? Doc and Wyatt donated
all together,
back to back.
At the same time.
Fascinating. Andrew Hillis, Eric Enos, Kathy with no last name, Pookie with no last name, Ricky Lindsay, Shoei with no last name, Christopher Clark, Svern, Sphere Kern, Sverry, I don't know, Maria Powellella. That's mind-bending. Powellella, she's a Monica Rolla, Alex with no last name, Tammy with no last name, Rain with no last name, and Elizabeth with no last name, and then obviously every other person that's a patron. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all that you do for us and that you keep doing and have done and continue to do and hopefully will do in the future. We appreciate the shit out of all of you. Thank you so much. You want to follow us on social media, real easy to do that. Yeah. Just head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Drop down menus will take you everywhere you want to go. Keep doing it. Keep following us. Keep hanging out with us. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
It takes one guy out there to say, who's that Kyle who thinks he can just get on a microphone on a podcast and start publicizing this?
From iHeart Podcasts and Tenderfoot TV comes a new true crime podcast, Crook County.
I got recruited into the mob when I was 17 years old.
Meet Kenny, an enforcer for the legendary Chicago outfit.
And that was my mission, to snuff the life out of this guy.
He lived a secret double life as a firefighter-paramedic for the Chicago Fire Department.
I had a wife and I had 2 children. Nobody knew anything.
People are dying. Is he doing this every night?
Torn between 2 worlds.
I'm covering up murders that these cops are doing.
He was a freaking crazy man.
We don't know who he is, really.
He is my father, and I had no idea about any of this until now. Welcome to Crook County. Available now. Listen for free on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.